And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now,
making mics up.
ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, fewer than 1% of March Madness brackets remain perfect after the first day of games. And we have somebody in our bracket that is perfect right now. Roc, Manuch is off. Jimmy B is off. I got Jax. I got Connor. So it's Roc, Jax, and Connor today from Wright Toyota for the next 3 hours here on ESPN 620. To get you caught up right now, games earlier today that have finished. Baylor took care of Mississippi State 75-72. Alabama over Robert Morris 90-81. Currently, Colorado State, a 12th seed, playing a 5 seed. Memphis is up 68-61 with 3:35 remaining in the second half in that one. Halftime with Duke in the East region. The number one Dukies are up 54 to Mount St. Mary's 20. It's 54-28. We still got other games going on. Vanderbilt is up by 3 over St. Mary's. That one's early, actually 7 minutes in the first half in that one. So those are your games right now. We got a ton of them to get into today. Our schedule today is we'll catch up with Mark Munch Bishop from Cleveland, the longtime Cleveland sports talk show host, as we will talk a little bit about this Cleveland Cavaliers team that's going to be playing tonight. Looking forward to always catching up with Munch Bishop. He is one of the best in all of this industry. You got Scott Spreitzer. He will break down some Friday games for you. Ones that are meaningful, ones that you can put some money on and have some success. He was right on last week going into the conference championships. Of course, we have GCU getting underway about 1:35. We'll keep you up to date. Some hockey, too, as the Frozen Four, the Frozen Face-Off, ASU and Denver, that gets going on at 2 o'clock on CBS Sportsnet. So we'll make sure any scoring, anything that goes on that, we will definitely bring that to you as well. In the 3 o'clock hour, Mike Adris will join us. He is the former NAU head basketball coach. He is our insider for the week, actually for the month, always has been. And then we're going to kind of have some fun today, and we'll do this in about 15 minutes. The Ringer presented the 100 best sports moments of the quarter century. And we will play some sound of the top 5. We'll give you some of the top 10 as well. It is a tremendous piece that probably took them a year to put together. It'll take you a long time to read, but it's very entertaining. There's pretty cool criteria to it. So we'll have that for you coming up here in about actually 12 minutes. And we'll go back and forth, Jackson, Connor, and I as well, to kind of give you what this whole story was about, because it's really cool. And you won't guess who. There's no way, unless you saw the story or you heard it, you would guess the first one or maybe even the second one when it comes to the best sports moments of all time.
Yeah, I think it's a long list. I even looked down. You sent the article this morning and kind of noting some of the moments that are in between 99 and 6. And it was good to see Scotty Scheffler on there, Lucas Trade, or you could even go to the butt fumble with Mark Sanchez at 56. So those are some little ones, but I'll tease it for the next segment. It's got to take them. I mean, each one of those moments had a different person writing the article. And you had certain moments where I'm sure, Roc, you even remember where you were when, Luis Gonzalez had the walk-off in 2000 World Series at 66, or even the Minneapolis Miracle at 33 with Stephon Diggs. So
next segment.
Little tease there for the next segment. But no, it's a fun list.
Phoenix Suns tonight. They took over the number 10 seed in the West with their win over the Bulls the other night. They're going to have a tough one tonight with a Cleveland Cavaliers team that's coming in town. Even though they've been struggling a little bit, they're still arguably one of the best teams in all of basketball. looks as though Mason Plumlee will be out. Grayson Allen is questionable. Bradley Beal looks as though he's going to be out. So we'll see how this all works out. So we'll get a little bit more in depth with that coming up in just a little bit. Some NFL news. Aaron Rodgers has been linked to the Steelers and the Giants, as we know, through free agency. The two teams have shown interest. A lot of reports today that he was at the Steelers facility. So we'll get into some of that as well. But as you get ready for the 1:30 tip-off with Grand Canyon, all the buzz there, their third consecutive NCAA tournament trip. It's going to be a tough draw for them with Maryland. I think the bet, Jax, is first half, 5.5.
That's what I have for my lock. Did you see that?
Oh, you did? No, I didn't see it. No,
yeah, I had it on my lock, but I guess I got to redo it because I pulled the Manuch doing a lock when the game's already started at 1:30.
Yeah, you can't
so
do
I was in favor of that too, but that's one thing too. When you talk about Scott Spreitzer later, I actually wanted to ask him about first half. Those are the lot of bets that I did yesterday. I had Drake plus 3.5 in the first half. They ended up winning. You had the under in the first half for the St. John's Omaha game, which at first Omaha looked to give St. John's a run for their money, but they're one of those teams that they're so bad at shooting. It's insane how bad they are at shooting. But if they can get in a close game, and once they snatch the league, they're not going to get rid of that lead with Rick Pitino. So I'm interested with the first half stuff. But to your point, I think GCU's got a tough matchup against the Crab Five of Maryland. It's going to come down to the guards. And a guy that, Paul Coro talked about yesterday, Tyron Grant Foster, who we expected to have a big season, just has kind of been kind of quiet this year. I don't know if that's because of all the other players that they brought in and, Ray Harrison coming back and staying. But he's going to have a big game if they want to keep it close against Maryland.
As you look at the two brackets we have going on, of course, we've teamed up with Twin Peaks, Bud Light, and Neutral. We have someone that went into today with no L's, no busted bracket, completely. He got them all. Berger, he is up, and then we have 4 people with 15. So Berger had 16, and then 4 people with 15. And then our $100,000 bracket with Weekapaw and Dos Equis, we have 2 people tied at 15, AJ Van 5418 and L Romer. So those 2 are tied. So that was going into today. So we will have some fun updating throughout the afternoon as we're having a lot of fun with these 2 brackets, of course.
How's your bracket doing?
Well, see, we're blocked. We can't get to our bracket.
Yeah, with the Right Toyota.
Yeah, I don't know why Right Toyota will not let us go into.
I think it's because of the whole gambling sites. Like anytime when Scott Spreitzer comes on or Manuch wants me to throw a live sports line, I can't log on to FanDuel or DraftKings, and part of that has to do with a lot of the employees maybe limiting those distractions from looking at those apps. But I had Colorado State; they're up 9 right now. Vanderbilt's
3 minutes.
Up 8 of
3
the 10
minutes.
seed. It's weird because yesterday people were kind of coming at me and they're saying that it was a boring day in March Madness.
What?
Because there wasn't a lot of upsets. And my comeback to that is, yes, there wasn't a lot of upsets. You didn't see Yale beat Texas A&M. Michigan squeaked out one yesterday. But these Saturday games, Rock, the closer we get to the Final Four with some of these mega teams, and we even talked about it on the show the other day on how it could be the year of the chalk where all 4 1 seeds haven't been in the Final Four since 2008. The Final Four, and that was in San Antonio, and this year being San Antonio, you kind of connect the dots there and do with sports. But I kind of laugh at those critics that say we don't like the upsets and we want to see more upsets in the first round because, damn, we have some good teams that advanced yesterday, and these Saturday games are going to be fun to watch with even BYU, Wisconsin, or even Drake having a chance against Texas Tech.
So the NCAA came out and said that 0.0938% or more of the more than 34 million brackets were still perfect. So less than 1%. CBS, same thing with their brackets. They are at 0.9% brackets as well. Yahoo Sports says 99.9% of their brackets have fallen short on perfection. So that is just huge. We saw early on Thursday, over 6.5 million brackets were busted.
About a minute and a half.
When
minute and a half.
lost to or won over Clemson.
Do you think it's people? Sorry to cut you. Do you think there's people are betting too much on the upsets? That's why, because usually around day 2, you'll have maybe 10% of brackets left. Now we have less than 1%. I feel like it's the commonality of America wanting more upsets and not getting that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think more people are trying to get those upsets because you feel like you got to take a chance.
Yeah.
You can't just take, all the favorites because there are going to be upsets. No
1 minute.
upsets, no upsets today as of right now. Well, you could a 9 Baylor over a 9-8.
I don't really count as an upset.
I do think Colorado State, they're about to win this game over Memphis. I took Colorado State because there was all this buzz on how well they were playing down the stretch. So they look like they're going to beat Memphis here at 75-64 with 45 seconds left. That will most likely bust a lot of people as well. I mean, a lot of people. Vanderbilt, St. Mary's, I think there's probably some people that are jumping on St. Mary's. They're down on this one, 24-16, but it's still in the first half of that one. But, yeah, there's still a lot to get into in these games. We're going to have some fun with it. When we come back, I was mentioning earlier that The Ringer has presented the 100 best sports moments of the quarter century. It's a great piece. We're going to put it up on all our social media platforms so you can get a link and check it out, because it's truly one of the better articles that I've read in a long, long time. I think you'll really enjoy it. We're going to kind of condense it down to the top 10, play some sounds for the top 5, and we will do that next. It's Rock and Jax out here at Wright Toyota right here on ESPN 620 and streaming live on ArizonaSports.com.
Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, The Ringer.
So the Spurs foul. Should Miami go for the 3 right away? Just attack the basket. James catches, puts up the 3. Will go. Rebound box. Back out to
Making Mike's hot here.
seconds remaining.
You remember where you were on that one on June 18th, 2013, when Ray Allen saves the Heat with a three? Well, that is one of the top 10 in the Ringers article, which is outstanding. And it is called The Ringer Presents the 100 Best Sports Moments of the Quarter Century. And since the calendar turned from 1999 to 2000, it kind of went back with all the Y2K. And I mean, he talked about there's been over 60,000 games played in Major League Baseball, 32,000 plus in the NBA, 31,000 in the NHL, over 67 NFL, and on and on and on. So there's a lot of sports over the 25 plus years. And what they decided to do is have a different writer to participate. And I don't know how they got to where they got to in the sense of the top 100, but they looked at the holy blank factor. They pulled in the remember where I was factor, the championship stakes factor, the legacy factor, the nickname factor. Will you talk about this in 25 years factor? It's such a great story, such a great article. And we decided to kind of have some fun with it here on the Friday. We'll get back to the bracket talk, of course, Phoenix Suns as well. But when you get to it, we'll start with number 10. Now, number 10 was Malcolm Butler picks off Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl. Arguably one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. It could have changed a lot if it went the other way. If you think about that, Tom Brady, the back-to-back Super Bowls, how amazing would that have been if the Seahawks would have won that game instead? And you wonder if the dynasty would have ever happened.
I think it would have been back-to-back Super Bowls for the Seahawks too, because they
Yes,
just
it would
beat
have
the
been.
Broncos the year before. Yep. They dominated them, and I mean that's one of those plays you say WT, you know what, of what Pete Carroll and what Marshawn Lynch was doing that entire game. They throw the Malcolm Butler interception. Those type of plays, exactly like you were saying. Remember where you were. Do you remember where you were when even like the little plays, the butt fumble? That's one of those plays where
I don't
the
remember.
New York Jets.
I wouldn't remember that. I wouldn't have watched it because I hate the Jets, so I would have not watched that game. But I remember the discussion afterwards.
Yeah,
which was pretty cool.
What
else?
How about the Minneapolis Miracle at 33 with Case Keenum and the Vikings? Throws it on the right sideline against the Saints. The Saints, you thought Drew Brees was going to make the NFC Championship. He was kind of like
what number
that
come in at? What number
that number came at 33, which was above. I know some of them are in here. Angel Reeves versus Caitlin Clark at 40. I thought that was kind of a little suspect over maybe some other moments like Chris Jenkins, national championship buzzer beater at 57 against UNC when they tied it the possession before.
Connor?
I was just going to say, when you talk about that pass there by Case Keenum, that one really propelled him into a lot of people's conversations. Like he started making actual quarterback money and things like that, all off of that Hail Mary throw. I mean, and also it's kind of what set off Stephon Diggs' career. So I look back at this list. There was a lot of fun stuff. One I was talking to Jax a little bit about in the break. They were doing some of the best what if with catches moment, right? And you look at like Julio Jones where he had that catch, just barely keeping it up off of the sideline in the Super Bowl.
Larry Fitzgerald against the Steelers.
Yeah. Just some of those that
was on
imagine
the
statues.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Good stuff. All right, number 9 was the Chicago. I would have put this higher, but the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series, 2016. A fan base that had to wait 108 years for the title. And just think, the Indians took a 3-1 series lead in that. Chicago won Game 5 at home, Game 6 in Cleveland to even the series. And then the Cubs led Game 7, 6-3 with 2 outs. And I think a guy in the 8th inning, there was a guy on. And Joe Madden decides, hey, I'm going to bring Chapman in to close out the World Series. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. 2-run homer, and then there was a 17-minute rain delay that a lot of people forget about. So it ends up going into extra frames, and then they end up winning 8-7 in the 10th. And I can't think of a bigger moment for a city than the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series.
Yeah, I was never really a big baseball guy, but I remember watching how big of a moment that was for the Chicago Cubs to get the World Series, a city that's still trying to figure out the Bears right now and all the curses and stuff like that with them. The Cubs in 2016. The whole year in 2016 was just a good year. Sports
Number
too.
8 was Messi from Argentina beating France in the World Cup final. I can't expand on that one because I didn't watch it. I know World Cup is big. I know Messi's big. Didn't watch that one. We'll go to number 7. Tiger Woods wins the Masters again at the age of 43. How big was that? Everybody was watching. Everybody was rooting for him. I had saw something where every single person that was Augusta National had to stop doing their job just so they could see the history. It was such a big deal. Number 6, Ray Allen. He saves the Heat. You heard that when we came back. That was huge. Ray Allen, the old man, and the 3. It was a gigantic hit for him. We knew he was such a great three-point shooter, but that all played into LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, of course, the Miami Heat, and all that good stuff. That was good. Now we get to our top 5. Our top 5. Let's see if you can remember. We're going to take you back to November 30th, 2013, the kick 6.
So I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it out. All right, here we go. 56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see. I cannot believe it. 34-28. And we thought a miracle in Jordan Hare was amazing. Oh, my Lord in heaven. Chris Davis just ran it 109 yards. And Auburn is going to the championship game.
Dude, I can't get any better than that.
Any better.
Gives you the chills.
No, one thing I love about this, too, is you sent me this morning and you said the Auburn call, and I was so happy because the CBS call is great, but the Stevie animation and the shock in these guys' voices calling the Auburn game, 2013, I remember I was a young boy. I think I was 12 or 13 years old watching this game. And this was the same year, too, where Auburn had that other miracle with Georgia, the tip pass, the Hail Mary, that kept their undefeated season going. They shocked the world beating Alabama, made it to the SEC championship where they ended up making it.
All right, let's fly through this next one. This was the ripple effect. It was called Michael Phelps, the greatest relay of ever. We take you back to the Beijing Olympics in 2008. It was Jason Lizak who swam the final leg of the 4x100 freestyle, and it enabled him to get his 8th gold medal, breaks the Mark Spitz 1972 record. Here's how all that went down.
I just don't think he can do it. He's trying to ride that wave as much as possible.
Bernard is pulling away from it. The United States trying to hang on the second. They should get the silver medal. But Lizak is closing a little bit.
Can the veteran chase him down and pull off a shocker here? Here comes Lizak. Unbelievable. He's done it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to call swimming, I bet. It's not quite to what we just heard from Auburn, but Lizak in that one, that was big for the United States. All right, we're down to our top 3. This is the Ringers best sports moments in the last quarter century. It's a pretty cool list. It'll be up on our pages so you can check it out. But this one, we take you back, and this was the ALCS 2004.
This would be the 5th pennant for the Red Sox since that 1918 season. Here it is. Ground ball to second. Reese. The Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
I'm going to fade this one. We're a little tight on time.
You know, and if we had more time, we'd play that because it's in Yankee Stadium. No team has ever come back for three down to win the 7-game series. It was just huge. And they're playing Yankee Stadium. They're playing Frank Sinatra at the end there after, the Red Sox were just storming the field. All right, 2 more to go. This is the block, the big block from LeBron James. That was one of the biggest blocks from one of the greatest players in the NBA. If Andre Iguodala would have made that shot, the Warriors would have taken a lead by 2 in that game with less than 2 minutes left. That was Game 7 in the finals. But the rest is history. And now we get to the number one ringer, best sports moment of the quarter century. I would question this one. I was there. I saw it live. It happened in our own backyard at the University of Phoenix Stadium at the time. The human catch. Excuse me. I'll start over. I messed up. What a horrible way.
You set that up so perfectly.
I did, and then I don't know why I said human helmet catch.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field.
About a minute after this, you guys are good to start wrapping.
Kyrie. Inside the 25 and a timeout taken. Oh, my God. This ball's thrown, and Tyree just goes up for it like a basketball player. Harrison trying to knock it down. And Eli, man, I don't know how he got out of there. I thought he was on the ground, and then he came out of the pile and just slings it.
Yeah, they were down for 75 seconds remaining in that Super Bowl. Eli, as you just heard, he escaped the Patriots defenders, heaved it down. David Tyree catches that, who had caught 4 passes in the regular season. There was talk earlier in the week behind the scenes, 3 days before the catch, that he had dropped a half a dozen passes in practice. So that's why the play was called the helmet catch. So good stuff there. Check it out for yourself. We have it up on our social media at Roc and Manuch. Just search that and we'll have it for you there. But we will continue. We are out here at Wright Toyota. This is ESPN 620.
91-point first half.
How about that? The Cavs, they've dropped 3 straight, and they are in town to take on the Phoenix Suns. And joining us now, always a pleasure, Mark Munch Bishop, longtime Cleveland Sports Talk. He's a contributor. He does everything. You can follow him at Munch Cleveland. He joins us now. Munch, it's Rock along with Jax today. No Manuch. Manuch is being a good guy. Went in, did the colonoscopy, took care of what he needed to do. Everything came out clean. So we gave him the day off to try to just chill and eat some food. So how you doing?
Well, you know what, man? It's funny because I just heard from him. So he was chowing down at an IHOP. So good for him because I'm a colonoscopy regular, okay? And
yeah, me too.
Something, guys, you need to do, okay? If you haven't done it, especially as we get a little bit wiser, that means older. But the bottom line is do it. And what a treat being with you guys, Rock and Jackson.
So I got to ask you, Donovan Mitchell, how's this going? A 3-game skid, and there's some quotes out there. This is what makes the season fun. How did the great people in Ohio take that?
Well, you know what? Number one, fans, and I will say this, well, for the most part, I like fans, okay?
Yeah.
At times they become rabble, and at times they become of the same cloth that freed Barabbas, okay, since we are in the Lenten season. But the bottom line is that people are flipping out. And I got to tell you something. Spider Mitchell, Donovan summed it up last night saying, you know what? I'm laughing about all this. No, not about losing, because we can't be losing, especially like the way we have been losing. But the bottom line is, yeah, you know what? This is going to do good for this team. Really, they clinched 6 up over the Celtics. But the bottom line is something I said from the get-go. What the heck do I know, guys, okay?
Yeah.
I always joke I put 4 kids through private school doing what I do, getting paid for my opinion. But I've always worried about the banger. Who is the banger on this team? Jared Allen could do that. And they've been out-rebounded badly in their last 3 losses. So that's something you got to keep your eye on in a big, big way. But, you know, it's a fun team. It's a Brazilian team. 10 for 43s against Orlando. You're not going to see that very often. But they're a heck of a lot of fun. And they are deep. And you know what? Kenny Atkinson does not hesitate to play 9, 10, 11 guys.
You know, Munch, everything kind of surrounds Donovan Mitchell. He's such a superstar. Why is it that he doesn't get the accolades that he should probably get? Because he just seems to be so right there on the cuff to be more into the MVP talk. And, we have this conversation the last few years with Devin Booker.
Right.
No love. What do you think it is there with Mitchell?
Well, part of it could be, quote unquote, Cleveland.
Okay.
My hometown, my place. I note that where I was born, where I've raised families, where I vote, where I pay taxes, and someday where I'll be laid to rest. But the bottom line, part of it is that when it comes to the media. In fact, I've got a shout out, not a friend of mine, but Jason Gay from the Wall Street Journal. Yes, sport guys read Wall Street Journal too. He actually scolded the medias on both coasts, including the East Coast, for not only ignoring the Cavaliers, but for ignoring Spider Mitchell. And that's one of the reasons too. But you know what else, guys? Something else. Spider hasn't gone too deep into the postseason, so that'll be a good thing to watch this year, and that'll be motivation for him also.
A bunch of kind of bittersweet homecoming for the former 2019 first-round pick of the Suns, Ty Jerome. He got traded in 22 from the Suns, and it just has broken out this year with Cleveland. Talk about what has been the secret to his emergence, and how much is he, being Ty Jerome, been a value to the Cleveland success?
Well, number one, he's a heady player. I'm not saying, everybody that goes to Virginia or Georgia Tech are brains, but, they've got to be students too. But he has worked hard at his game. Part of it's Kenny Atkinson. Part of it's his teammates. And I'll tell you something, guys. Something else I like about this team, and it ties into Ty Jerome too. He's 6'5", 6'6". So when he's coming in to play the 2 or the 1 or even the 3, he's not undersized. He's not the 6'1" guy you have coming off the bench. So he's learned to use that size 2 on occasion. But no matter whether he's usually off the bench, but even when he started, he is just becoming a well-rounded player. And you know what? He'll shoot from the outside. He'll drive. He'll dish. He'll take baseline. Little things like that I know. He'll take charges. He'll do the wraparound and poke balls away from people. Heck, he could get steals on 3 straight possessions, and people think nothing of it. Neither does he. Yeah, his game has just been phenomenal. And I can see a little bit of heartbreak there with you guys when you see how well he plays.
Munch Bishop joining us here on the Right to It, a guest on here on ESPN 620. Munch, I want to talk. I want to talk some football with you, and I still want to talk some Guardians with you as well. Let's start with football. You know, my whole family's from Cleveland, basically around near Brook Park, the whole area there. My parents went to Rhodes. Where's the stadium? I mean, what's all this talk? Is it is going to be in the suburbs? Is that where it's looking?
Well, you know what? Absolutely not, because I'm just going to come out and say it. I've said the same thing on the airways in Cleveland, whether it's and on television and in print. Haslam is an immoral, dishonest Confederate thief, okay? He's trying to rape the city, trying to destroy the core of the city downtown. He's not going to get a cent of money from Cuyahoga County. He's not going to get a cent of money from the city itself. Right now, it looks like the state is wavering on giving him some money too. And the mayor of Brook Park has finally come to his senses and said, wait a second, I've got to have some fallback. What if another pandemic hits? What if this hits? What if that hits? You know, he wants to build like a plastic land out there. He wants to build Haslam land. And I will tell you this, guys, too. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than that, but I have sons who are 25 and 31 to go to most of the games. They'll be the first to tell you, Dad, in the last 3 years, there's maybe one game where we needed a dome. And please, don't be telling me that, well, they're going to get a Super Bowl. No, they're not. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Buffalo, they will never get a Super Bowl, even Buffalo with their new stadium. So that's out. And you know what? They may get 5 to 6 more events in a dome stadium, which is not needed in Cleveland, Ohio. So right now, do they want to build it? They certainly do. But again, you have to remember, you're dealing with scammers. You're dealing with people that are a plague on the city of Cleveland. Best thing they could do right now is sell the team. If he's a businessman and paid $1 billion for him and they're worth $8 billion, then make the money and get out of here.
Smart. Love it. I love hearing that. All right, let's talk about your baseball team, the Guardians, formerly the Indians, of course. They put in one of the most impressive turnarounds last year, 16 more wins than the year before. They win the American League Central for the 5th time in 9 seasons. I'm not hearing anything, at least out here, and we host your spring training in Goodyear. They're flying under the radar right now. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it's a great thing. Did you hear anything about him last year except maybe doom and gloom? And by the way, you're going to love Josh Naylor. What a good guy. Does he need to get on base a little bit more often? He certainly does. But I look for him to get 30 and 100 for you guys. He may only hit 230 or 240, but you'll get some long ball and some production. Here was what's most amazing, too, about Cleveland last year. The starting pitching. You've got Shane Bieber goes down, and he had 2 outings that reminded me just
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Young form. You have Tristan McKenzie, who's been untouchable. Well, he was not untouchable to the opposing hitters who spent most of the season in AAA, and lefty Logan Allen. So 3/5 of your starting rotation did not contribute in any way, shape, or form. So that's going to have to come through in a big, big way. But something else, guys, the beauty of this Guardians team. Oh, yeah, all the Browns rebels say, well, they're cheap, this and that. You know what's amazing? Is I have people say, well, I'd rather have them spend money and lose than part of me than do what they do and win. Those folks could, I don't know where they can go, but they're not needed here. But the bottom line is, last year they had Boyd, they had Cobb, veterans that everybody else gave up on. They contributed. This year they've got Junis, they tossed them in. They got Means, he won't pitch until after the All-Star break. But they went and they picked up a couple of savvy veterans. Ben Lively, the Oriental League's veteran, he contributed last year, and he's looking real.
About a minute left. 1 minute.
No, it should be a lot of fun. You know, it's interesting, too. Naylor was a popular guy. Except when he played for the team, sure, he hit a home run, but people are wondering, can't you take a walk sometimes? Worked real hard on his glove, too, guys. You will see that. And Jimenez, my gosh, platinum glover at second base. But they wanted a starting pitcher for him. That's what you need to give up for a starting pitcher to stay. So they got Ortiz from Pittsburgh in the 3-way trade.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Baseball season is almost here. Munch, thank you for you kind of just go around the city of Cleveland. Always good to catch up with you. We're glad you're doing well, and let's keep this going in the next month.
Well, we certainly will. And by the way, I'm horrified by the play of your Phoenix Suns, but I could have summed it up because you got the human parasite in Kevin Durant. Is he unstoppable in offense? Yeah. Will he win anything if it's not called with the Golden State Warriors? Absolutely not.
No, you're saying the same thing we do.
I love you guys. I love you.
No, we're with you. We're with you. He'll be gone after this year. Munch, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. That's Munch Bishop, longtime Cleveland Sports Talk host, contributor, Neo Sports Inside. You can follow that at Neo Sports Inside, or just follow him at Munch Cleveland. He is brought to you today by All City Towing. Join the team
Clear to rep.
at the largest towing company in the state. Of course, that is All City Towing. They are hiring all positions across the board. So if you're ready to take your career to the next level, why not? Visit them online at allcitytowing.com. That's All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Well, coming up, the anniversary of the NFL owners passing the infamous anti-celebration rule. We're going to go back a few years, and we're going to play a little game. And you can play along at home. Flag or no flag? You make the call. We'll do that next. It's Rock and Jax and Connor from Wright Toyota here on ESPN 620.
It's Friday, and the guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street
Mics are hot.
Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
All right, on this day back in 1961, Art Modell purchased the Browns for a then record $3.9 million. 3.9. In 64, UCLA capped off a 30-0 season by beating Duke for the championship, 98-83. They were the third team to go undefeated and win a title, and it gave John Wooden his first of 10 NCAA championships. On this day in 2008, first time, 4 NCAA men's basketball tournament first-round games at the same site on the same day were all upsets. Number 12 seeds, Western Kentucky and Villanova, and number 13's San Diego and Siena win first-round games there in Tampa. And then 1984, the NFL passed the infamous anti-celebrating rule. So that leads me to this, gentlemen. Connor and Jax, you can play along. You know, we call about the No Fun League. We've heard they reached the peak No Fun League big time back in 2016. So I've pulled some flags,
Okay.
and non-flags. And I am going to give you each the player and what he did, and you tell me if it was a penalty or not a penalty.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm excited. I'm
So
ready.
Josh Norman, Washington Redskins, the bow and arrow. So he pretends to shoot an arrow, and he's holding neither a bow nor an arrow, but you get the point. It's like a modern-day Robin Hood. Is that a penalty, yes or no?
I don't think it is, but the NFL will call it a penalty, so I'm going to say flag.
Connor?
I'm going to say no because, you know,
Keep
you look at Brandon Cooks, the archer. That was his whole celebration, is bringing back the arrow.
Penalty, it was. Yes. All right. Jackson's up 1-0. Antonio Brown, the Steelers, the end zone twerking. This is interesting. Nobody twerks in the NBA. Of course, I'm not going to get specific on what that was. Is this a penalty? Yes or no?
Well, Antonio Brown's known for his good dance moves. I remember at the time he had a bunch of dances in his prime years for the Steelers. So I'm going to go no flag here.
Okay, Connor?
I'm also rolling no flag. I think he's done much more horrendous things.
It's a penalty every time.
Really?
Both.
I thought it was a 3-pump rule.
Nope, you're wrong on that one. All right, how about Emmanuel Sanders, Denver Broncos at the time, called the cartwheel. And it's something a little bit different. He basically did a cartwheel like a gymnast would do. Is that a penalty? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say so. I think cartwheel is a pretty good thing, and I think it shows your athleticism. We've seen backflips before, but I'm going to say no flag for a cartwheel.
Connor.
Yeah, I'm rolling with you. No flag on cartwheels.
You guys got that right. Good job. All right, Golden Tate, Detroit Lions. Let's go Lions. He's basically, he becomes a cheerleader, and he is basically cheering on the sideline, and he was kind of outside of the play, but he was literally, he borrowed some pom-poms. He joined into the dance. Is that a penalty? Yes or no?
I'm going to say as an NFL referee, it was a flag, even though I think it's very funny. And I think it's something that you kind of add to the game and bring the cheerleaders into the game as well. But I'm going to say the NFL called it a flag.
Connor.
I'm going no flag. No harm, no foul.
Exactly. No penalty. Jack's done.
All right, we're tied.
All right, Andrew Hawkins, Cleveland Browns, the robot. So basically, he was acting like a robot after scoring a touchdown. And he placed the ball on the ground, and he kept doing the mechanical robot, and he walked to the sideline. Penalty or no penalty?
No flag.
No flag. Connor?
I'm going no flag.
No flag. Good job. All right, Vernon Davis, 6'5", played a little basketball in his day. So he celebrated a touchdown by dunking over the crossbar. Penalty or no penalty?
No penalty. I love that. That's
Connor.
an all-time classic celebration.
I think that's a penalty. I believe they started cracking down on that one.
It is a penalty.
Wow.
Yes. Terrell Pryor, Cleveland Browns, the LeBron. He was paying homage to the Cleveland legend, of course, LeBron James, and he was doing that chalk toss after scoring a touchdown. Penalty or no penalty?
No penalty.
Connor.
I'm with Jax. No penalty.
No penalty on there. All right, I got two more. Stephon Diggs, Minnesota Vikings. Again, we're going back in time. Digging it. He likes to go gravedigger when he scores. So his name is Diggs. So that's part of the word gravedigger. And he's digging. Is that, like pretending he's got a shovel. No other players are involved. Is that a penalty?
I'm going to say no flag. I mean, he's just digging. We've seen people digging. There's no harm, no foul. You're just digging up gold.
Okay. Connor?
Feel like a trick question. I'm rolling. This was a flag.
No penalty on this one. All right, Blake Bortles, Jags, kicking it. You know, NFL players can spike and spin the ball as long as they don't do it toward an opponent. Same goes for a punt. So what happened when the Jags quarterback celebrated a touchdown and he punted the ball into the crowd in Wembley Stadium in London? Penalty or no penalty?
I'm going to say that's a flag.
Connor.
I'm also rolling a flag.
No penalty.
Wow.
He wasn't penalized or fined. How about that?
Sure made it a hard day for the ball boy.
All right,
though.
one more bonus one. T. Pryor, again, of the Cleveland Browns. After making a big catch, this is week 2 in 2016, he appeared to be flipping the ball to the official as he returned to the line of scrimmage. But the ball hit an opposing player, and there was an official right there. Is that a penalty?
It's a flag. Anytime it hits an official or another player, that's when the NFL gets a little sensitive. I'm going to say flag.
Connor.
I'm also rolling a flag on that one.
It is a flag. So there you go. All right.
So tied.
So it's tied? Oh,
Yeah, we tied. Six of 9 for both of us.
So no worries then. So that was cool. I mean, I just thought on the anniversary of them doing the no fun league, it's just the taunting penalties for a while. They were spiking a little bit, and they were calling a lot more flags on that. The whole unsportsmanlike deal that kind of went up a little bit, but it is the no fun league at sometimes. You want them to have fun. I think we all used to love T.O. with the popcorn and Antonio Brown. I think it was Antonio Brown. No, who was the guy for New Orleans? Yeah, who was the guy for the Saints who had the Sharpie? Receiver.
I know what you're talking about. Is it Horn? Last name was Horn.
Yeah, it could have been Horn. So, but those are kind of the fun ones anyway.
Joe Horn.
Yeah. So
2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes.
One of those. So
no, I agree. I think the NFL is cracking down more on it, but I think part of it too, they understand that celebrations, a lot of the younger kids and stuff, and that's one thing that social media cracks these days is all these new celebrations about a new TikTok meme or TikTok dance that you have on the field. So that kind of brings the engagement of more fans with celebrations. But I agree. I think the taunting is getting a little excessive.
Jax.
They call that because some people will have a big time catch on third down and stare at the defensive back, and they'll call that a penalty.
I have to know, you being the former wide receiver, did you have a go-to touchdown dance?
No, never.
Never?
My dad, from a very young age, growing up in Arizona, instilled the whole Larry Fitzgerald thing when you catch the ball and you give it to the ref. That was the thing that he instilled in me. I wish I had a celebration because that's boring. But looking at
you just wish you would have scored, right?
Yeah, I wish.
As an offensive lineman, I wish I would have scored.
Yeah, definitely didn't score much.
Hey, it is the madness, as we all know. We want to invite you out for the championship game. Make plans to join myself, Manuch, Jimmy B for the Ultimate Hoops final party at the Tempe Twin Peaks on Monday, April 7th. We'll broadcast from 1 to 4. The event will kick off at about 5. Thanks to our friends at Bud Light and Neutral. At halftime, you'll have a chance to roll the jumbo dice for $25,000. You don't want to miss it. All 5 locations have got great specials on Bud Light, Neutral. Great place. Yesterday at Twin Peaks.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Packed in Scottsdale. So check them out. 5 locations, Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, and scenic views. All right. Hour number 2 is coming up. And I can't wait. Sports handicapper Scott Spreitzer will join us. We'll have our picks as well, as we are looking forward to that. And if we have some time, we're going to give away some food today. Friday's food day, We like to do free food Fridays.
30 seconds.
So we'll have that for you, too. But it is Roc and Jax holding the fort down here in Scottsdale at Wright Toyota. We also are going to Jax put together a really cool montage of some of the big games yesterday. So we'll have that for
10
you.
10 seconds.
It's Roc, it's Jax, it's ESPN 620.
Leader in sports is ESPN 620. And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900.
Make your bikes hot.
ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, we appreciate you hanging out with us there out here at Roy Toyota. Jack's filling in for Manuch. Connor back at the ESPN 620 studios. Friday at Wright Toyota. Also, we'll let you know that fish and chip bundles are going on right now at all the Twin Peaks locations. They're beer batter fish and chips for Lent. You can take advantage of that. They got a great deal where you get the fish and chips and you get yourself a 22-ounce Miller Lite or Coors Light for just $14 every Friday through Easter, or if you want to just grab a soda or tea for $12. So right there at all 5 Valley locations. All right, let's get you caught up on some of the scores. Right now, Grand Canyon is down 9-7, 12:22 remaining in the first half. Ole Miss is all over North Carolina. The number 6 Ole Miss at number 11 North Carolina. It's 44-26 at halftime. Got a good one with Vanderbilt and St. Mary's. And they're just underway in the second half as Vanderbilt is up by 8. And game is almost over. Complete blowout. Duke over Mount St. Mary's, 84-46, 87-46 with 3:22 remaining in that one. All right, still to come today. Coming up after these games, you will have Norfolk State and Florida. A lot of people have Florida in their bracket. Troy, Kentucky, New Mexico against Marquette. The Arizona game against Akron, that will tip off at 4:35. Oklahoma, UConn at 6:25. Xavier, Illinois, 6:45. And then later, the final games of the night, Bryant and Michigan State at 7, and Liberty and Oregon. Already done today. Alabama took care of business over Robert Morris. They won by 9. Iowa State over Lipscomb, 82-55. Colorado State upsets Memphis. That was the big one so far today, 78-70. Outscored them 47-34 in the second half. So number 5 goes down. Memphis had a pretty good team this year. And Baylor, a number 9 seed, beat a number 8 seed in Mississippi State by 3, 75-72. What's your biggest storyline so far today?
Yeah, I think Colorado State, because of the Mountain West having such a bad reputation the last couple of years in the NCAA tournament. Utah State last night got absolutely blown out by UCLA. And this was a weird matchup because it was a 5-12. And, the bracket comes out and Colorado State's a 12 seed and they're favored against Memphis. So you're going back and forth trying to tell yourself, do I go with the sports books? Do I go with Vegas and lean towards Colorado State? I had Colorado State on my bracket, but I bet Memphis this morning because I guess what happened with Utah State, you thought Memphis was going to go out there and dominate. But this Colorado State team in March, they're 26-9. They just battled their way. They were a bubble team. They had to win their conference in order to make the tournament. They win their conference. They had a blowout game against Memphis. So I think that's my biggest takeaway. And the other one being, Alabama. I mean, they only won by 9 points against the 15 seed. So what kind of struggles are they going to have in the next round when they play Vanderbilt, St. Mary's, or even after that, BYU, Wisconsin? So they didn't look the greatest, but I think those are one of those games for Alabama. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries. You avoided a potential upset. You just kind of want to survive in advance in a time of March where you have to win 6 games in order to win the national championship.
A lot of talk about Cooper Flagg. He was okay. He went today, 14 points. He was 6-12 from the field, 1 for 3 from the three-point land. He didn't play that. They didn't need to play that much. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys on their bench. And they got 2 minutes remaining, and they're up 91-47 over Mount St. Mary's. So smart move there. You didn't need to play him.
They covered.
Some said they didn't need it.
They covered.
What was the spread? 30-something?
34.5. Those spreads are just so tough for me because it's like you have to, the first half, you've got to be up by at least 20. They were up by 26 points, and then the second half they just stormed. But I think Houston covered. I don't think Auburn covered earlier yesterday. 21.5 was the spread for Alabama. They didn't cover either. So some of those large spreads, but the Duke Blue Devils, they're just so deep. And I know they need Cooper Flagg moving forward in order to kind of take them to that next step. But these coming games and when they play Baylor next round, Cooper Flagg on a minutes restriction, 14 points is definitely a plus for Duke fans.
Stay in college sports as it's just getting underway as Arizona State men's ice hockey team. They entered their first National College Hockey Conference Frozen Face-Off. They're a new conference newcomer, and they're up against one of the most historic teams in college history, and hockey that is. That's the Denver Pioneers. They're the reigning national champs. That game is just tipping off. They dropping the puck at 2 o'clock. It's on CBS Sports Network as the semifinals there in St. Paul, Minnesota, as ASU is the number 2 seed. Denver is the number 3 seed. And the Pioneers, they've been playing since like 1949. They've been around a long time. They got 10 titles, national titles, the most in the NCAA. And you got the Sun Devils there, who just became a D1 program back in 2015 and have made one NCAA tournament in 9 completed seasons. So this is a big one for them. How great would it be for them to be able to advance? Oh, man, this would be great. There's so many people out there that miss hockey. And they do such a great job at Mullet. I think there's a buzz around this team. So it would be so cool for them to see it. It's unfortunate that it's going on the same time you got the NCAA tournament because I think a lot of you would want to watch it. I mean, I think you miss hockey. I mean, we're having withdrawals not having the Coyotes here, and you got a pretty strong ASU team out there.
I know it's just a college, but do you think any way the success of ASU hockey would bring back the kindlings of potentially an NHL frame? I know it not next year, but maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. Does that have any type of influence, or is that just kind of a different ball game?
I don't. It's completely different. I mean, there's so much money in professional sports opposed to college sports, but hey, you never know with everything that's going on in the world.
4 minutes.
I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this is going to help. I do know that there was a story that hit yesterday in the Sports Business Journal that we may see Atlanta and Houston getting an expansion team. They are talking about paying an expansion fee of $1.5 billion. So if there is somebody out there that has the money, supposedly Houston's got some billionaire. Same with somebody in Atlanta. So you have some guys that are interested, and that's what it comes down to. If there was somebody that could step up, and I don't know who that is in our city here that really likes hockey, and you can get yourself a new arena somewhere that makes some sense. Ideally, I would love to see it be downtown and just keep working that downtown and building that downtown. But I just don't think that this, formerly Footprint Stadium arena can be that home.
If Kenny Dillingham had the money, I bet he would. I saw him at the couple of ASU hockey games and what he's done to this city. It's pretty cool. I mean, I even seen – I know you're not much of a gamer, but on College Football 26, the new game coming out, Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt are going to be on the cover as well, which I think is amazing for
putting a coach on the cover.
Yeah, they have a bunch of coaches. They've got Kirby Smart. They got James Franklin. It's a whole collage of about 30 people with players and coaches on it. But yeah, Kenny Dillingham and Sam Levitt being on there as well. But if he was the guy to have all the money, I'm sure Kenny Dillingham would be first on the list to bring hockey back.
All right, a little fun here. So I'm going to ask both of you guys a question. Fill in the blank. There are blank NCAA tournament teams that share a mascot with another tournament.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Give me the number of NCAA tourney teams that share a mascot with another team. I'll give you one right now. Wildcats, which is Arizona and Kentucky. How many do you think total?
I'm going to say 20.
Okay.
I'm going to say 20.
Connor?
I got to say like 50. All these schools just share the same ones, different colors.
21 is the answer.
Wow.
And the Bulldogs were number one.
Say,
Bryant,
that has to be.
Drake, Georgia, Gonzaga, Mississippi State, Yale, followed by the Tigers, Auburn, Clemson, Memphis, Missouri. Cougars come in third with BYU, Houston, and SIU, Edwardsville. How about that?
That's amazing.
Now, one more. How many schools made a bowl game this season in both men's and women's NCAA tournaments. So they made a bowl game, and both their men and women are in the tournament.
They made the March Madness tournament.
Yes, men and women.
I'm gonna say 25.
Wow, that many?
Yeah.
Okay.
25.
Connor?
That's a lot. That's a bad guess.
I'm thinking more like 6 or 7.
See, I would have said 6 or 7. It's 16.
Wow.
That's a
incredible.
huge number. I mean, I don't know what you could contribute that to, but you're looking at these schools: Louisville, North Carolina, Baylor, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa State, Alabama, OU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Texas, Vanderbilt, UConn. It's pretty cool.
Grand Canyon being on that list too is pretty sweet.
They're not on that list.
Oh, they're not?
It had to be a bowl game.
Oh, I thought you were talking NCAA tournament.
No,
okay,
it was you had to make a bowl game in football, and your men's and women's team made the tournament. So you made the playoffs in both sports.
I didn't listen there. That's on me.
You're filling that seat real well with Manuch not being
exactly.
here.
I'm doing what
You guys are clear to wrap. Clear to wrap.
The latest sports headlines are brought to you by Weekapaw Casino and Resort and the WKP Sportsbook. Catch up on all the tournament madness and enjoy our exclusive specials. They've got a bunch, including with Dos Equis throughout the tournament. That's the WKP Sportsbook on Saturday, April 5th for our final weekend event. They've got cash props, we got squares, we got contents, and more. And also at halftime, be sure to stick around for the jumbo dice with a chance to win 50 grand. So that's a bunch of cash you can win April 5th in the WKP Sportsbook for our final weekend of the tournament.
All right, sounds of the tournament are next as we are out here at Wright Toyota. It's Rock and Jacks today here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, ESPN 620.
Friday. And the guys are live from Wright Toyota. Right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street and Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
Wiggins will pop a three. It's good. 1 out of 2. Hunter. Zachary. He'll put up a three. No good. Rebound. A scramble. Hunter has it. Hunter.
Making Mike's hot now.
Good. But Cowboy up. McNeese.
What a big upset yesterday. In our fan pick'em right now, Berger's got 20, followed by we got 5 guys at 19. Jimmy Brinston, Jimmy B is actually on the leaderboard on page 1 of the fan pick'em. What is that all about?
Guys,
How
we're
did he
watching some
get on there?
basketball, I guess. Watching some college hoops. He's got Michigan in his Final Four, I believe, was what he sent us on Wednesday. They looked decent last night, and they'll play A&M tomorrow.
And for the win at Weekapaw, which you were just talking about, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people in tied for first with 19. So Berger's got 20, and a lot of people got 19. Ton of people got 18 and 17. I mean, it's crazy how many have them there at 17 or 18. Right now, getting caught up, Maryland is up on Grand Canyon 26-12, 7-12 in the first half on that one. Vanderbilt and St. Mary's in the second half, it's tied at 43, 7-21 in that one. Halftime, Ole Miss is all over North Carolina, 44-26. Some finals today, Baylor over Mississippi State. Colorado State upsets Memphis, and Duke blows out St. Mary's. So there's some updates there with some scores. Jax, tell us what you put together.
Yeah, we got a big March Madness montage from yesterday. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long, but you're about to hear a bunch from whether it was Creighton's dominant win yesterday, John Calipari beating Bill Stuff in a big upset, Arkansas taking down Kansas, Gonzaga's perfect shooting against Georgia, 12 McNeese upsetting 5 Clemson. How about 11 Drake dominating Mizzou? And also the nightcap, a bunch of games last night, including a little soundbite from Rippertino talking about going up against John Calipari and how they're too old to go one-on-one. It's all about the players in the round of 32 game tomorrow, St. John's, Arkansas. Play it, Connor.
See the full court pressure. Jemiah Neal on the breakaway. With an exclamation point. 3 consecutive trips with a turnover for the Jayhawks. And they got to reverse the ball. That's this for 3. Timeout, Kansas. And that will do it. In a thriller, it's Calipari over Self. And Arkansas to the second round. Got rebound to Copeland. Copeland to Shumay. Up ahead of the pack. Well, that's it. Hunter has it. Hunter at the buzzer. It's good. But Cowboy up. McNeese.
Shot clock at 5. Battle for 3. It's good. Oh, man, everything is falling. He's got 17. And that Mascari at midcourt goes to Sturts. Alley-oop. I love to do after the alley-oop. Sturts immediately sprinted back on. He didn't even celebrate.
And this is when it's tough to be the number 1 seed. Right now, it is effectively turned into a road game for Michigan. The whole building is against them.
Big strike for Trey. And he says, quiet down, everybody. Working against Wolf. Got to get a shot away. 3-pointer. No good. Rebound, Michigan. They survive the Trojans of UC San Diego. And the Wolverines go on to round 2, but boy, did they have to work for it. Hodge is about to check back in for the Seahawks. Toppin working against Obioha, kicks it out. Anderson to the basket. Hit the bucket off the glass. Great body control.
2 great friends, Mick Cronin, Jared Calhoun, shake hands. And UCLA, after missing the tournament last
30 seconds left.
In and advancing to the second round. A resounding 72 to 47.
I don't go against coaches. We go against teams. He does.
Coming back in 15. This is that last clip here.
So he's got to prepare for our team. But we've got to prepare for his players. He's preparing for our players. So John and I don't play one-on-one anymore.
What a montage from yesterday, last night's sounds, and all day yesterday at March Madness are brought to you by Lerner and Rowe. And the Lerner and Rowe Gives Back 12th annual golf tournament at McCormick Ranch on Friday, April 25th. This tournament has raised over millions of dollars the last 2 years, and they're hoping to hit it again this year. Special shout-outs this season's presenting sponsors of Coop Collision, Chiropractic, Pro Performance, Stamp Medical, and ChiroFit and Collision experts. If you want to play or donate, head to lernerandrowegivesback.com. What a day yesterday, Rob.
It was great. And that last clip, you heard Rick Pitino. And after number 10 Arkansas upset at number 7 Kansas yesterday, and then number 2 St. John's took care of business over number 15 Omaha, you knew CBS and everybody was so excited that John Calipari and Rick Pitino are set to renew their long-time rivalry. Tomorrow, 11:40 in the morning, CBS, Channel 5, Arkansas, St. John's. Now, the Razorbacks, the Red Storm, they don't have huge national fan bases, okay? They just don't for their basketball programs. But they have 2 Hall of Fame coaches that have combined for 13 Final Fours at 5 different schools. Now, last time they faced off was in 2014. That was Kentucky versus Louisville. Sweet 16. It did over 10 million views. So the first and second rounds are going to really do well. I think they've already done 7 million just on the first 4 playing games. So I expect to see even more there. When you look at these 2 programs off the court, very similar. St. John's and Arkansas. You know Bobby Hurley would love this. They have billion-dollar programs because the big business stories that own the right for them. Pitino, if you recall, he has led this team to the Big East tournament for the first time in 25 years. He's got a billionaire alum who gave him all kinds of money, NIL money. It's a guy from Body Armor, and he's got a brand called No Bull. And then you got the Johnnies. It's their first Final Four since '85. They also got some money too. So, Pitino's get all this money. He got what? $5 million for not $5 million. I think he got like $5 million for his players this year. And then you look at Calipari on the other side. He leaves Kentucky. He gets 5 years, $44 million. Had $44 million left on his contract. They paid him a buttload too, and that's why these teams are winning. That goes to my point about billionaires. Somehow, if ASU is going to kind of turn the corner, same with U of A, they're going to have to do the same thing. They don't have those type of backers like those 2 programs do.
Yeah, and I know ASU's trying to get James Harden's trying to be an investor and try to get the program around, but it's not comparable to teams like you mentioned, St. John's and Arkansas. I think it's pretty cool in a new era of NIL. And, we've seen Nick Saban leave and we've seen Jay Wright leave, to see some of these guys that still want to come in and change programs. John Calipari and Rick Pitino have both. I think it's around 3 or 4. They have the same amount of teams that they've transformed and turned them into Final Four teams. If Rick Pitino brings his St. John's team to the Final Four, he will be on top of Calipari. So that's another bragging right thing that I know Rick Pitino wants over John Calipari, is not being in the same class as him in terms of bringing around schools. Rick Pitino, I think he had Providence. He brought Iona. He's doing the same thing with St. John's here. It's just a hell of a story, the Johnnies. And they both teams don't play the sexiest brand of basketball. They're not going to go out there and shoot a bunch of threes. Both of them are awful shooting threes. But when they do, especially St. John's, when they make a 3, it seems like more than just 3 points. It seems like 6.
Man, come on, GCU. I mean, you got a Maryland team that had some guys that are hurt. The athletic director there, Damon Evans, is leaving Maryland to take the same position at SMU. When all this is going on, you're like, okay, what's going on? Their basketball coach is trying to, he wants an extension to his contract. What's the score?
34-16. It's crazy because Grand Canyon was up 7-2, maybe 9-2 to start the game off. You blink, and Maryland's on a long run. They're up 34-16. Now 19. Tyon Grant Foster with a 3-pointer. It's going to be a long day for the GCU
1 minute.
Lopes.
1 minute.
Not a great matchup. If you had to pick all the 4 seeds, this was probably the last one you want to pick if you're a GCU fan.
It's just unfortunate. You would have liked to. Well, it's not over yet. Hey, there's 2 halves, right? So we'll see how it all works out. All right, we're going to catch up with sports handicapper Scott Spreitzer of DocSports.com. Right now, we are going to have him do New Mexico, Marquette, Akron, Arizona, OU, UConn, Xavier, Illinois. We'll also get some NBA in there. If we have time, we'll look ahead to some of the games tomorrow if we can get him to do that. So he will join us next. But first, here's Connor with a local Phoenix ESPN 620 Sports Center.
Schweitzer, exclusively on
Mics are hot.
with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this today, Scott Spreitzer. I wish we could bring you on every day during the tournament. How did you do yesterday, and what were some of the big highlights for the books?
Yeah, it's been nice. I had a losing conference tournament season, which is not something I've gotten used to, but 4-1 now the last couple of days. So happy with the last couple of days. We'll see how we do tonight. But, yeah, I mean, it's been, just a situation where I heard a lot of people talking about getting beat up yesterday. And one of the things that I tend to like to do when it comes to day one and even day two in March Madness is look to play chalk. And if I can't find chalk that I like, that I pass those games more often than not. So that's, kind of what worked for me yesterday. We had Wisconsin, we had Purdue. The lone loss in the last 2 days was on the Kansas Jayhawks, who I thought was going to redeem themselves at least for a round or two from that disappointing regular season. And of course, they did not do that against Arkansas. But so far, so good. Knocking on wood.
CBS wanted Calipari and Patino. That was the game. The game was fixed. Come on, Scott. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, let's get to some of the games today. Let's start with Marquette and New Mexico. Is the spread still -3.5?
Yeah, 4 in most spots now, Marquette.
Okay.
The total right around 152.5. And, every March and every big dance, we get a conference that either flourishes or struggles as a whole. And the Mountain West Conference was looking like they were going to be down with San Diego State and Utah State, both flopping the last couple of days. But Colorado State was able to come through against Memphis this afternoon. Outside of poor free throw shooting, New Mexico doesn't really do anything else badly. I mean, they're pretty decent in most metrics. They play a quick tempo. My concern with Marquette, they don't get to the free throw line. They're like 341st out of 364 teams in free throw attempt to field goal attempt ratio. But one of the things, guys, I'm wondering if this is kind of influenced by a Big East thing, because whistles in the Big East are few and far between. I mean, you look at box scores in Big East games, and it's always like one team shot 9 free throws, the other team 5 free throws. So it gets a little bit more challenging when they get into the dance, and all of a sudden they're actually getting to go to the free throw line. But Marquette doesn't rebound well at all. The Lobos are solid on the glass. Marquette usually has an advantage in producing turnovers, but the Lobos take care of the rock. I'm not a big Shaka Smart fan when he gets to the big dance. Pretty even game. I lean New Mexico here plus the points.
Okay. All right, Scott, let's go to the Arizona Wildcats taking on the Akron Zips. Arizona favored by 14.5. Where are you leaning on this one?
Yeah, Zips pretty good basketball program. I mean, third time in 4 years they're in the dance. They're 21-1 since the calendar turned to 2025. This should be fun because both teams like to push the pace, especially Akron. They shoot extremely well from both inside and outside the three-point line, so they do keep defenses busy both inside and out. You can't really find anything to pick apart for the Zips. Arizona, they don't shoot the three well, but they're smart. They don't shoot a lot of threes because they don't make a lot of threes. So very smart in that, they're not going to chuck up a bunch of three-pointers. Here's the thing. Arizona played the 4th toughest schedule in college basketball this year. Akron faced the 273rd ranked schedule. These teams that go on runs but play a list of softies are teams that I tend to like to go against or stay away from the game. The Zips haven't beaten a single team rated inside the top 112, and they went 3-4 against teams inside the top 145. 2 of those wins, by the way, came against Kent State. I don't think they're going to be ready for Arizona. I remember last year in the first round, Akron was a darling underdog play, and Creighton blew them off the court. I don't know that it's going to be a blowout start to finish, but I think Arizona would be the way to go.
All right, OU and UConn. How do you see this one?
I jumped on this one, guys, early. I laid 4.5 with UConn. It's all the way up to 6.5 in a lot of shops. You look at Oklahoma. They finished with 6 wins in 18 conference games this year. They were 7-13 their final 20 games overall after a 13-0 start. And that undefeated 13-0 start came against the 319th ranked non-conference schedule. It looks like they're not going to have Sam Godwin tonight. He's their only player for OU who's taller than 6'6". Not only player, but only starter. They've got a couple of bigger guys coming off the bench, but they're not as key to the Sooners as Godwin is. And as far as UConn is concerned, it's a very intriguing game tonight because Dan Hurley's been the best March coach for the last several years. His team underperformed this year, and we're going to see if they wipe the slate clean. Not getting a whole lot of love from the bettors, which is a little scary because they keep covering games in big dance action. I went ahead and laid the 4.5. It's getting a little bit iffy right now at 6.5.
All right, Scott, let's go a little teaser.
Xavier first.
Oh, Xavier. Sorry, my bad. Xavier, Illinois. Illinois favored by 3.5 points. Is this an upset potential with Xavier, or do you fall with the Illini?
Yeah, I think it's an upset potential here. I mean, the line's gone all the way up to 4.5 in some shops, with Illinois being the favorite. A problem I've seen for the Illini this year is the fact they shoot more three-pointers than all but 30 teams. There's 364 teams, and there's only 30 that shoot more threes than them, and they miss a lot of threes. They're 316th in three-point accuracy. They only make about 31% of their attempts. And you look at Xavier, more selective from the deep perimeter. They're also more accurate. The Musketeers, sixth best in the nation, making 39% of their three-point shots. Also with Illinois, they've got some serious issues on the defensive end where they play away from home. So I think Xavier is a tough matchup for teams like Illinois because Xavier works the ball around well. They're fifth in the country in assist to field goal made ratio. I like Xavier here plus the 4.5.
Can we look ahead to tomorrow? I know I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you're focused on today, but there are a couple of games tomorrow. Even if you don't have to handicap them per se, but I see the Purdue McNeese spread. I think it's now 6.5. It was 5.5. Is that? Are people jumping on McNeese because of the big upset yesterday?
Yeah, that line's been going up. Yeah, they're betting Purdue, which right now I'm leaning towards Purdue, and I got to do a little bit more work on it. Mm-hmm. But I think what happened yesterday is we saw a complete failure out of the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah.
And the ACC, hasn't looked great thus far. I mean, Duke has looked fine, but Louisville gets clocked by double digits by Creighton. Clemson gets roughed up. I haven't checked the score since halftime, but North Carolina was getting blown off the floor after a huge shooting night the other night against the Aztecs. So the ACC was down this year. And then, to me, watching that game, and I saw most of that game against Clemson with McNeese State, and Clemson just came out of the blocks as flat as it gets. They couldn't make a shot. They were playing a terrible brand of basketball. The only thing they did right was rebound a little bit more.
3 minutes.
I'm kind of looking to go against McNeese in this one because we saw once Clemson got their footing, they scored 38 points over the final 10 minutes of the game. That's 152-point, projection if you looked at that over entire 40 minutes of action. So I think McNeese is going to be in a little trouble tomorrow, guys.
Do you find more success on days on the second round versus the 64 where you're coming in and you don't know how, certain underdogs are going to perform against some of the big dogs, or maybe even teams like an A&M and a Michigan facing off? Is that kind of how it works for you, where the round of 32 ends up benefiting you as a sports handicapper versus the round of 64?
Yeah, it does. I mean, normally in the last couple of years, last year and again this year, like for instance, I said yesterday I only played 3 games and the day before 2 games, and we're fortunate to go 4-1. But it's always been Saturday, Sunday opening, week has been better for me than the first games on Thursday and Friday. And one of the things is you get to see things like teams that maybe played well above their norm, when it came to how they played in the opening game. And we saw that again with North Carolina. I mean, maybe they come back. I see they're down 16 right now in the second half. But I thought one of the problems for the Tar Heels in this game is they shot way above their norm the other day against San Diego State. So I'm looking for teams that are way off their norm in a good way, in a positive way in game 1, just playing above their heads, and look to go against them in game 2 when the general public is like, wow, maybe that team is better than I thought. And then they end up making the mistake of thinking they're going to perform above their heads again for a second straight game.
2 minutes.
Speaking for those reasons, Saturday, Sunday in the opening week have been better for me than Thursday, Friday.
Hey, one NBA game in our own backyard. The Cavs, who've lost 3 straight. The Suns have won 2. This spread this morning was 6.5. Now I see, at least on my book in front of me, is 8.5. Why do you think that's our 2 points already?
Yeah, I think because of Mitchell and Garland are both supposed to play tonight. They've been kind of alternating a lot lately. So they're both going to go tonight, apparently, for the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's influenced the line a little bit. We've talked about the Suns, a couple times lately, and I've always said, their home record is not the problem. They just can't win on the road, and they're up to 21-13 at home straight up. But they've only covered 3 of 9 as a home underdog. And I've got a real good angle for you guys. I brought one today.
Okay.
And this one wins season after season, and you guys know I'm not a big Engel player unless it makes some kind of logical sense. Road teams off a loss,
1 minute,
win, and the road team is favored. That road team favorite has covered 56% of the last 1,524 games. It goes back a long way. Nickel players, those betting 550 to win 500, just blindly playing this angle would be up $58,500 right now, just playing that angle. And of course, that would point to Cleveland in this particular game. They look like they're kind of cruising. I mean, they're 6 games up on Boston in the Eastern Conference, but I'm not real sure that they want to let this 3-game losing streak, grow into something bigger. So I like the Cavaliers when the number's a little bit shorter than this. I still like them a bit at 8.5. And that angle, man, when you go back 15, 20 years and you're talking about 1,500 plus games at 56%, that's one of those things where you see I'm either playing that angle or I'm staying away from the game.
Love it. Hey, great job as always. Thanks for your time today. Enjoy the weekend. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Take care, guys. Good luck.
That's Scott Spreitzer. Follow him on his Twitter X page at Scott Wins. He's part of DocSports.com. I took all his bets last week.
Clear to
we
rep.
did 6, and I won 5 of the 6.
So funny. I wish people could look at us during that entire segment. We're just writing down.
I literally,
putting them all
I'm
in
on my DraftKings, putting them all in. I'm like, I was Suns. Our show sheet had it at 6.5, and DraftKings had it at 8.5. I'm like, Hey, he's brought to you by Fan Pick'em, powered by the 5 Twin Peaks locations. Thanks to Bud Light Neutral. Great place to watch all the games. So check it out. We hope we'll see you out there at one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations. Coming up, the latest on Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh and our locks for the week, and your chance to win some free food on a Free Food Friday with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
on ESPN 620.
All right, halftime in the Grand Canyon, Maryland game, 42-28, the Terrapins. Ole Miss up 59-45 with 10:56 in the second half on TNT. In that one, those are the only two games that are in progress right now. Got some games that'll tip off in the 3 o'clock hour, or actually 3:50. Norfolk State against Florida, and Troy and Kentucky. That's at 4:10. That'll be the Channel 5 game. That being Troy, Kentucky. TNT will be Norfolk State and Florida. It's hard to keep up to what channel they're on. But anyway, let's get to we'll get into our locks in a moment. Saw some a little early for football at 50, but I'll throw it out there. It looks as though Deion Sanders, he told the NFL Network that Syracuse in Colorado have communicated about doing their spring game together. So that could be pretty cool. We all know that Deion is a big fan of spring football. He's a big fan of marketing, and I think that's probably the case there. And if you're Syracuse, you just say, yes, what time do I need to be there?
Yeah, I think it's great for Fran Brown. He's kind of that younger up-and-coming coach who's at Georgia, and then what he did with Syracuse in their first year, winning 8-9 games. I think it's great, and I think it brings Syracuse on the map, and I definitely think at a time where people are starting, like myself, are hungry for football again, that spring ball game, will bring some football to our eyes, and it'll be competitive maybe a little bit and get to see some young talent from both Colorado and Syracuse.
Connor?
We were talking about this, Jax, you and I, a little bit earlier in the week, and something I proposed, I kind of want to bounce off you, Rock. What if we started to see, all these teams that are canceling spring practice and these spring games, things like that? What if we started to see similar how the NFL does these joint scrimmages, and you get all these interstate rivals like Colorado State, or you can do Arizona and Arizona State, do these kind of interstate joint camps? Is that something you could see come down the line?
Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. I think any opportunity to get to play football, we get to watch football, we get to talk football. I think we all, for the most part, want to talk football 12 months out of the year. I don't see this being a bad thing at all. I think it's actually a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be an added element, something that I guess maybe Channel 3 News can bring it on here locally, but I don't see any, negatives to that proposal for Connor.
Hey, I am trying to get, and oh, come on, this is so hard to get scores when it's not what you think. And there still hasn't been. I'm trying to get the Denver ASU. You got anything on that yet? I mean,
2-0.
What is it?
That is 2-0. Denver is currently up over ASU.
So even ESPN, they're so busy with the women's basketball bracket that they can't seem to even update their men's college hockey scoreboard. Game started at 2 o'clock, and they got nothing. It's just goose eggs. It's like, come on, ESPN, you're better than that. Oh, jeez. All right, Aaron Rodgers was seen at the Pittsburgh Steelers facility today. Of course, that's been talked about for quite a while, that he may end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler, him being a free agent for the first time in his career. But he was seen, I guess he was there for about 6 hours today, visiting with the Steelers at their practice facility, at least according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. So he met with the coaches. It sounds like it was a very positive visit, both sides. I think Steeler fans, the ones I know, Manuch being one of them, are kind of eager to see what's going to happen here and who their quarterback's going to be this year. I think this is probably going to happen, don't you?
I think so too. I think it's a situation where the Steelers aren't too confident where they sit at to get a Jackson Dart. Maybe they settle back in the draft and get a Tyler Shuck or, a Jalen Milroe, even if they like it in the second or third round, and have them kind of learn from Aaron Rodgers. But this is a franchise that has had the same dominant defense every year with TJ Watt and Cameron Hayward. It's just been the quarterback situation that hasn't worked. They tried with Kenny Pickett, didn't work. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, and sometimes it looked good. But if you want to win 10 games every year, then sure, have a Fields or Wilson come out there and be your quarterback. But if you want to take that edge in the AFC, maybe Aaron Rodgers could be that guy. I definitely think a lot of different personalities, and it's going to be interesting. Mike Tomlin, kind of that hard-nosed coach, and the players love him. How he deal with DK and an Aaron Rodgers and a Pickens, all big personalities in the same huddle.
Hey, it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
Would be.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our locks of the week, Jax. Kind of recap last week.
Yeah, we had a good week besides myself. We were 3-1 as a group. Roc in front right now, 15-10-1, had GCU minus 6.5 against Cal Baptist. That hit. Manuch had Houston over BYU, the minus 7.5. That hit. And Connor had the Celtics minus 7.5 against the Miami Heat. So scratch it this week. You're the leader, Roc. Start us off with your lock.
I like Oklahoma.
Ooh.
6.5 over UConn. I know Scott Spicer just said that UConn covers in March. They have had a lot of success with Coach Hurley. I just think that maybe the UConn run is over, and I'm not saying that Oklahoma is going to win. I'm just saying I'm going to take the 6.5. Is it still 6.5 is what I want to know.
I think so. I believe it's 6.5. I remember Scott Spritzer saying it was originally at 4 or 5.5. When he got it at 6.5. I'm going to go Xavier plus 4.5 against Illinois. I think Xavier coming off of a hard-fought game, coming back from Texas. They can shoot it all over the park. And this Illinois team, they bank on threes, and they're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country, but everything else they are not very good at, and they're super inconsistent. So I like the Xavier, the Big East team, upsetting Illinois, but I'll take the points instead of the money line. Connor?
I'm going to be rolling with the Oregon Ducks today. Give me the Ducks minus the 6.5. I think this is a chance for the Ducks to go out there and show how well they run that transition offense, start to run a little bit of laps there against Liberty. I think this is a good chance you see the Ducks get out, so I'm rolling 6.5.
All right, and Manuch went with Michigan State 18.5 over Bryant. He's got them winning and covering. Hey, the Ultimate Hoops final party is at Tempe Twin Peaks. We will be there on Monday, April 7th. We'll be there from 1 to 4, and then we will host the festivities. At halftime, you'll have a chance to roll the dice for $25,000. We hope that you will join us. We got specials going on throughout the tournament. If you are interested, go to any of the 5 locations, and you'll be able to take advantage of Bud Light and Neutral all weekend long. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, and scenic views. Check that out. Yeah, so right now, if we go back to the scoreboard, it's still halftime with Grand Canyon and Maryland. You know, last year, if you remember, I mean, a lot of people were so excited about this Grand Canyon program.
4 minutes.
And I think it's still the program has had so much success in the last few years. If they can just get over that hump and get to a Sweet 16, I think it would just be crazy. I think how the city, they have, I think, somewhere around 90,000 students.
It's incredible.
You know, they're gigantic, and that, of course, is online as well. But this would help them get to even a higher level than they already are.
Yeah, and they're joining the WCC, right? Or is it a different conference that they're the Mountain West?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mountain West they're trying to join. It was the WCC at first, and then they backed out of it and went to the Mountain West. I know there were rumors with the Pac-12 as well, but that will definitely bring it up, facing some other teams like St. Mary's who's staying, and I know Gonzaga is going to make their way to the Pac-12 eventually too.
So they're going to join the Mountain West no later than 2026. Of course, they're a non-football playing member, but it's going to be a little bit. I think they could probably get in there a year early, but I think right now they are going to wait until 2026.
Yeah, and I think that'll help. I think also the fan base is so in for their basketball teams, both the men and female. You see every single game packed with the Havocs and stuff. That'll bring the attention. It being in Phoenix, they have more of a fan base than even here in ASU. Like Arizona State's basketball program, you don't see a lot of attendance there versus Grand Canyon. So that's kind of that recruiting build that they can
2.5
build some other teams. But definitely, it's going to be a bounce back year after this. Hopefully, they can come back down 14. You're going to have a lot of guys that have been at this program for 4, 5, and 6 years. So it's going to be interesting if Bryce Drew, with the new transition, you mentioned the Mountain West Conference in 2026, and a bunch of guys leaving, if they can kind of reload and make the tournament every year. Because if you can make the tournament and be in the limelight, you know that too with marketing, be the discussion, it's going to bring more eyes.
So police blotter to end the 2 o'clock hour. Georgia, 2 dozen Bulldog football players have been arrested since January 2023. 24 players. They had their wide receiver, Nitro. Figure this. Nitro Tuggle, arrested for speeding and reckless driving this week. Another guy, outside linebacker Marquise Easley, has also been suspended indefinitely for unrelated incidents. But Nitro
Minute and a half.
was arrested at 1:56 a.m. the other night, speeding, had the maximum limit, and reckless driving as he was pulled over. He was released on a $26 bond. $26, that's it. But, man, if you look at that, they're getting ready to start their practice on Thursday of next week. Get ready for their season. Of course, we know how good Georgia is every year. They just reload.
1 minute.
But this isn't good for the program when you continue to get guys arrested.
I don't get what Kirby Smart. He never gets asked about this. It's been an ongoing issue for Georgia, and they have so much success, yes, but it's always these driving issues. Day after day, it seems like they just can't get a hold of.
As we go to break, fifth caller at 602-230-0620, and we will hook you up thanks to Arena Sports Grill, a large one-item pizza and a pound of wings. How about that? Take advantage of that.
30 seconds.
602-230-0620. Want to thank Arena Sports Grill. Great place to watch all the games as well. And we'll get you out a large one-item pizza and a pound of wings. Hour number 3 is coming up. Kirk Brombaugh will join us, the director of the Week of Paul Table Games. We also will have former NAU head coach Mike Adris, and got a pretty cool top 10 best moments list to share as well. We're out here at Wright Toyota. This is ESPN 620.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Well, fewer than 1% of the NCAA tournament brackets were still perfect after yesterday's 16 games. Right now, the Terrapins and Grand Canyon are going at it, and a number 4 versus a number 13. What's the score right now there, Jax?
42-30, Maryland over Grand Canyon. So Grand Canyon got the first bucket. Now just got to play a bunch of defense. It's a game of runs, so you hope that they can, kind of keep it close and maybe be down 8 points in the next 8 minutes or so.
Oh, love to see them kind of get going here. Connor, when you get a moment, can you give me an update on the ASU hockey score as well, since I can't seem to find it?
Yeah,
anywhere.
that one is currently 2-0. Denver's still up, and that second period is just getting started here. They're just about a minute into it.
All right, good stuff. All right, and then Suns tonight, they got the Cavs in town. They overtook the number 10 seed in the West with their win over Chicago the other night, hopefully building some positive momentum as the opponents will get much tougher towards the end of this season. But they are playing less than full strength as Mason Plumlee. He's got that quad strain. It looks as though he's out. Grayson Allen, he's got a left foot soreness. He is questionable. Brady Beal is out as well. So we'll have to see what happens here because this is a good Cavs team. They've lost 3 straight. They're on their West Coast, run here for their road trip. And we had Munch Bishop on, who is with Cleveland Sports, and he was like, he doesn't expect this team to have another letdown, and they are going to get going here. And Donovan Mitchell is playing.
Yeah, the Cavs are such a fun story because they kind of emerged out of nowhere, and people were wondering who was going to be that team in the East that could contend with the Boston Celtics. And most people even have the Cavaliers as their representative coming out of the Eastern Conference over the Celtics, and a bunch of guys that have had different stints, whether that's Max Strus or even Ty Jerome coming over here, all teaming up and just kind of being that 3-point shooting deadly team that they are. And then you got the Phoenix Suns, and a team that we keep talking about, and we're obviously a local radio station, so we have to talk about the Phoenix Suns, but it's the frustrations. But you always wonder, when a team's down, can the Suns capitalize on that, especially when they have the play-in in their sight right now at the 10th spot currently. You just hope that when the Cavs are kind of getting things rusty, that the Suns can take care of it and get a win, especially how hard their schedule is down the stretch.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to come in here ready to go. The spread's been kind of going much higher. I think a lot of people are thinking that this is going to be one of those games. You can listen to it on 98.7. It's on 3 TV as well. 7 o'clock tip-off for the Phoenix Suns. This Cleveland team, as I mentioned, have lost 3 straight. And after they had been just on fire, having a nice 16-game winning streak, and then you get a 3-game slide. No one's panicking, I'm sure, as, having him back. You got now arrested Mobley, who is an all-star. He didn't even play against Orlando last week in one of the losses they had. So they did lose to the Kings the other night. They did sit Darius Garland in that. So health is a priority for this team. But I don't think they want to lose 4 straight. So I think they're going to have everybody going tonight to 56-13. They want to continue to get on that streak there. They're just a game behind Oklahoma City. The Thunder, they're 57-12. So I think you are playing for positioning in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely 100%. I think for this matchup specifically, there's 3 nuggets, and if you're a Suns fan out there to look out for tonight, it's going to be a 3-point battle. The Cavaliers, they average 16 made threes per game, while the Suns average 14.4. It's going to look like a college March Madness game, which will be a good transition after you watch a bunch of March Madness to watch the Suns in a 3-point battle back and forth. I think the defensive rebounding is going to be massive for the Suns to take advantage of, which they rank 6th in the NBA in. They could try to limit some of those second chances for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have a lot more talent, a lot more camaraderie in terms of that versus the Suns. And then lastly is, can Booker continue to carry this team? After 41 point performance the other night. He needs a huge performance in a game where a bunch of turmoil is going on with the Phoenix Suns. Is Kevin Durant leaving? Is he staying? What's going on with Bradley Beal? He's got to be the glue, I think, in tonight's game. And you just hope that he can carry the Suns and they can just win tonight up there in Phoenix Arena.
Yeah, up there in Phoenix Arena?
Up there, down there, everywhere.
Up there in
How
Phoenix
do you feel
Arena?
about that name, Phoenix Arena? Is that just kind of like, okay, we'll put this temporarily?
It's a holding. It's a holding. They're in a holding pattern. They'll sell that naming rights to somebody out there. I'm sure they will have some success with that. But that's normal. With Footprint, they got what they needed. I think Footprint was put on it. They got it on the map. No one even knew who Footprint was and what they did. I think their sponsorship, whatever it was, $5 million a year, whatever it may have been, I think it was beneficial for them. I'm a big fan of naming rights on buildings, and I think it really does wonders for a lot of great businesses out there. So we'll see whoever the next I don't know sponsor that wants to come up for them. Give us some updates on some scores.
Yeah, I got you right now. Ole Miss, North Carolina on a 35-21 run. They're down 4 points, 65-61 against 6 Ole Miss. North Carolina had some buzz heading into the tournament. Maybe that last team that not a lot of people wanted. They won their first 4 in. Some people, even myself, put up money on North Carolina to beat Ole Miss. They were down 44-26 at half, but now it's a game against Ole Miss. Grand Canyon down 15 currently, 49-34, but the Grand Canyon Lopes hanging in there with the Maryland team that, they're number 4 in the respective conference, or in the region, I should say, with a potential matchup on the horizon against Florida. Maryland, kind of that sneaky 4 seed where, people, Florida fans included, they just won the SEC and they've got a tough road, probably the toughest road of all the 1 seeds when you think about it, because Florida, they've got to play the 8-9 winner, which I'm pulling up here, is UConn, Oklahoma tonight, and then they would play the winner of Maryland and Colorado State after that. So Maryland, a team holding tight, up 15 against Grand Canyon. Then we're about to start the second slate of games. Norfolk State, Florida. You've got Troy, Kentucky, New Mexico, Marquette, and then Akron, Arizona. An Arizona team that they showed some things in the Big 12 tournament, I think, Rock, in their first year in the Big 12, making the championship game. And I think you nailed it yesterday with Ryan Hansen. It's just, can it come down to Caleb Love? What will we see out of him, the 6-year senior who's a dynamic player, and he's streaky in March, but you just see the up and down roller coasters. But I think one thing with Arizona this year is they've got 2 big 7-footers that I think will be the difference at tonight's Akron game. But it's like, man, you're filling out your bracket, you got Arizona in the Sweet 16, and you just kind of feel hesitant because this team, every year they're overhyped, 4 seed, only 12 losses, and then they get to the Sweet 16 or a game that they should win, and they crumble.
Hey, let's get to our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day out of yesterday's upsets in the tournament.
All right, let's toss.
Who do you feel will go the farthest? McNeese, Drake, Creighton, or Arkansas?
Go to break after.
So those would be the 4 that you can choose from. Go to our Twitter page, X page, at Roc and Manuch. And as always, State 48 Roofing is your number 1 referred roofer in Arizona. So check that out. All right, as promised, coming up here in just a few minutes, we'll catch up with Kurt from Weekapaw as we were trying to reach him. But good old Manuch put down the wrong phone number. So some lady is a little pissed off at us right now because we keep calling her to come on our show, and she doesn't want to come on our show because she shouldn't be coming on our show. So anyway, we'll have Kurt next here on ESPN 620.
Report with Wekopa Casino Resort's own Kirk Brumbaugh. Each week, Kirk scratches your sports gaming itch like no other. Get the most up-to-the-minute sports gaming information and become the most
Make a Mike's hot.
water cooler. Now, here's WKP Sportsbook's own Kirk Brumbaugh on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Powered by Wekopa Casino Resort on ESPN 620.
Well, Kurt, first we'll apologize, and we're going to throw Manuch under the bus because he put your phone number on our little show sheet here wrong. So some lady, Lacey, is a little upset because we keep calling her, and it was the wrong number. So we apologize for that. So we'll get back on track right now. And, in defense.
And no apology.
Good. In defense of Manuch, he did a very noble thing last night. He was preparing for his colonoscopy today, and he had his colonoscopy, so we all know, and everything came out great. So, we're trying to get the word out to, us older guys that, hey, get out there and get your colonoscopy. So we're lucky that he did that. That was good stuff. So, all right, let's get a little recap. Let's go back a little bit first, Kurt, and let's talk about Tuesday and Wednesday and how the book performed. How the book show up?
Tuesday we get killed. North Carolina, everybody had them.
Really?
So, yeah, Tuesday, it wasn't a good day for the book.
Then Wednesday, you guys made up for it, I'm sure, right? For the most part?
Yes.
So how about when you look at, Kurt, say, yesterday, the upsets, Creighton, McNeese, Drake, how does that affect the book when you have so many upsets like that?
So, we all know the 5-12s are always going to happen, but the way I look at them are always the parlay busters. The Clemson, McNeese, that one killed everybody's parlay. Everybody had Clemson on that one because the spread favored Clemson and everything, but nobody saw that 12-5 matchup. Everybody had Michigan losing now, but not Clemson.
Interesting stuff there. How about today? Any big games that stand out to you that were wagered the most in this early slate, or maybe even some games going on now or later for today?
The one that stood out the most was Duke. Duke put a dominant game together, and Cooper coming back, I think, rejuvenized that team. They're going to be the team, I believe, you need to watch out for. Everybody laid everything on Duke today, but, and it's always the but, everybody also had Memphis too. So, that was a huge another parlay buster right there too.
Yeah, Memphis, interesting. A 5 seed over a 12, and they were the underdog in that. Speaking of games that are wagered, GCU was tipped off at 1:30 p.m. and Arizona at 4:30 p.m. How much was wagered on the local teams in the Big Dance?
So as far as Grand Canyon goes, not too much on them. Everybody is looking Maryland so far on that game, and the way the game's panning out, it looks like everybody's going to win on that. Now, the intriguing game that's coming up is Arizona-Akron. That one right there, it could be our first 4 seed going down. Arizona, they always have tough the first game. If they make it through the first game, I see them making a good run in it. Big 12 so far is looking good. I just hope Arizona can make it through their first game.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. That is true. Arizona does struggle a lot on that first game, and if they can get by them, they usually are in a good spot. I think if I'm right with the bracket, they can end up playing Duke. Later.
Yeah, they would play the winner of Oregon Liberty.
So that has a lot to do with it. I know the line has moved a little bit in that one. Kurt, when it comes to overall at the book, I mean, I'm sure you guys have been just absolutely packed. And any advice for people that want to get out there this weekend? Because the second round is always a blast. Always a blast.
Yes. Well, right now, I literally just left there, so that's why it didn't bother that we were a little bit late showing up. So I was trying to watch the end of the North Carolina game. But right now, we're actually packed. There isn't an empty seat going on.
Probably a minute or two of Kirk.
So if you want to get out, as I mentioned last week, plan on being here before 4, because anytime after 4, it's going to be 1 in, 1 out. Whenever a seat comes available, you can take it. Can't guarantee anything. We don't take reservations just because we do get so many people coming.
So do you see some overflow? Because there's a lot of different bars at Weekapaw Casino, which have huge screens everywhere. So you could conceivably go in there, use the sports book or use the kiosks outside the sports book and still have just a good time, at one of the bars, right? I mean, but it is the whole WKP sportsbook experience is what you want people to have, though, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. If you want to watch it all throughout our whole casino and resort, we have big screens going out. If you want to just get a ticket and go to the center bar and play some video poker at center bar while you're watching the game, you're going to get a great seat there too. But the real experience is in WKP. That right there, go in there and get you and your friends a party bowl and enjoy the game. You're going to have a blast.
Whoa. You can't just say a party bowl. What's a party bowl?
It's an adult beverage.
Okay.
But we do not serve it to people unless there's 4 in a group.
Oh.
That's how big it is. We have our punch bowl there.
Oh, so it's like punch.
I call it a party bowl. It's our punch bowl.
Okay.
But it does constitute into a party, I guess I should say.
Well, if there's a 4-person minimum, I'm sure it's pretty big. So, well, good.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a big weekend out there at the WKP Sportsbook. We're pretty excited about it. Kurt, thanks again. Sorry for us being late today, but we'll look forward to talking to you next week and seeing you there next week.
Sounds good, guys. Look forward to it.
You got it. That's Kurt Brumbaugh, the table games director at Weekapaw Casino and Resort. Of course, we've been talking about the WKP Sportsbook. We teamed up with them with that $100,000 bracket contest, which let me just kind of look at this really quick, because we had somebody that was just absolutely destroying it. Right now, we have a 4-way tie. Bullet, Ralph 66, Danny K, and which is great because it's Jimmy B and he can't win. So I don't even know why he filled out a bracket, because he can't win. So just knock him out. So we have a 3-way tie right now with 20 wins at win@weekapaw.com. And again, we want to remind you, we've teamed up with Dos Equis as well. We're going to be out there throughout the tournament. We're going to be there on Saturday for the Final Four. We'll be hosting free cash props, $100 props,
6 minutes,
$100 squares for both games. You're going to be able to roll the jumbo dice for a chance at $50,000, 25 people each at the halftime of those games. So we hope to see you on April 5th for our big party at Weekapaw. All right, let's turn our attention. The Ringer they presented to us, it was a great story, the 100 best moments in sports moments of the quarter century. And this was a really well done piece. You may question the results, but we're going to just get you the top 5 as the first one. We'll set it up right here. This is probably one of the best calls. You love the play-by-play guys in the South. This is Alabama, Auburn, kick 6, number 5.
So I guess if this thing comes up short, he can field it and run it out. All right, here we go. 56-yarder.
Some of those other calls I'll probably fade down after. This one I'll play all the way through.
So he'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. This is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran the missed field goal back. He ran it back 109 yards. They're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Holy cow. Oh, my God. Auburn wins. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl. Auburn has won the Iron Bowl in the most unbelievable fashion you will ever see. I cannot believe it. 34-28.
Love it. How great is that? That was number 5. Number 4 was the Olympics and the 4x100 freestyle relay in Beijing. And everything was on Michael Phelps. He had already won 7 medals, and they was dreaming to get to that 8, and it came down to this.
I just don't think he can do it. He's trying to ride that wave as much as possible.
Bernard is pulling away from it. The United States trying to hang on the second. They should get the silver medal. But Lezak is closing a little bit. Can the veteran chase him down and pull off a shocker here? Here comes Lezak. Unbelievable. He's done it.
Jason Lezak, he was the anchor leg, kept Phelps' dream alive with 8 gold medals there in the Olympics. All right, we get to number 3. Red Sox down 3-0. They beat the New York Yankees in the 2004 ALCS Game 7. They then advance to the World Series.
This would be.
I'll let this one run and play the Frank Sinatra song this time.
Pinch that 19.
About 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Here it is. Ground ball to second. Reese. The Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
I think it's amazing that Yankee Stadium fired off Frank Sinatra in that loss. The first time it happens, 3-0 in the series. They come back, they win it. I can't believe they played that Frank Sinatra. All right, we got 2 more to go. Again, this is the Ringer and the 100 best sports moments. This was pretty cool. LeBron James's historic block on Andre Iguodala, and this was, of course, when Miami went on to win the NBA championship.
Wow. Historic block of the game as we come up on a minute and a half remaining.
What do you think, Jack?
That whole game was insane because you felt like the Warriors had so much momentum, especially on a breakaway like that. LeBron comes out of nowhere. You talk about the Auburn call with the kick 6 being iconic. This one and also Ray Allen are 2 moments to me, like as a sports fan growing up, that are just so iconic. Again, the year of 2016 in sports, if you go online and just Google 2016 sports moments, there'll be about 6 of the top 12 all alone from that year.
So the number 1, according to the Ringer, and they had 100 different people put this together. And they say this is the kind of thing that makes you believe in God if you don't believe in God. You're down 4 with 75 seconds remaining in the Super Bowl. Eli Manning, he escapes 2 Patriots defenders, and he throws it up in the air to a special teamer in David Tyree, who had caught 4 passes in the regular season. He pins the ball to his helmet, gets it. It's the greatest catch in Super Bowl history, at least according to a lot of people, the helmet catch.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. Inside the 25 and a timeout taken.
How about that? That does it right there. Cool stuff. All right, we're going to catch up with former NAU head basketball coach Mike Adrius, get his thoughts on some of the upsets yesterday, look at today as well. But let's get caught up on some of the local stories, specifically ASU in Denver in the Frozen face-off. Here is Connor with the latest Phoenix ESPN 620 Sports Center.
And the guys are live from Wright Toyota, right on the corner.
I'm going to play a highlight real quick.
Wright Toyota, located at 77th Street at Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard in Scottsdale. Now back to the guys on ESPN 620.
Inbound to Mayo, and that will do it. In a thriller, it's Calipari over Self and Arkansas to the second round.
That would make it Mike's up.
Game in the first half, you had all transition. The second half, you get more four wide.
All right, Coach Atris, Calipari versus Pitino. That was all set up, right? The NCAA, CBS, they all wanted that to happen, right? Arkansas, St. John's.
100%, Rock. I'm with you on that one. Okay, it's made for good TV. There's no question about it.
We'll be watching, right?
We'll see what happens.
We'll both be watching. And Coach, you have to, the respect you have for those two coaches and how much success they have had in their careers, and to the point where they are now, they just have a couple billionaires that just have to give them some money for NIL, and then they're always going to be where they're at, like today, right?
That's the name of the game. Have you heard of a bunch of schools are hiring GMs now to manage all that money? Crazy what it's turning into.
So let us ask you this, and then we'll get into some of the games yesterday. This is our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question today. Out of yesterday's upsets, who do you feel will go the farthest of these four? Is it McNeese, Drake, Creighton, or Arkansas? Of those four, who would you think will go the farthest?
I'm going with Drake. Yeah, I'm going with Drake. They look like the most solid team, and I like where their next game is and stuff like that. So I like their chances of moving on. Creighton, I was actually surprised they won yesterday. I thought Louisville would beat them, but when Creighton plays well, they're pretty good. I just don't know if they're good enough to beat Auburn in the next game. Arkansas, maybe, but I think St. John's is going to win that one. I do like McNeese State winning, beating Purdue though tomorrow. So those are the two. McNeese and Drake are the two that I'm saying one of those two, and maybe both will make it to next week, the Sweet 16.
Coach, you talk about Drake, and in that Mizzou game, they talked about how Drake's slow pace really gave Mizzou, who's a fast-paced team, a lot of troubles. And as a former basketball coach yourself, how big is that for a team that's a slow pace to make a team like Mizzou kind of play into their trap? As we saw last year with Clemson, Arizona, Clemson was a slow-paced team. Arizona was a fast-paced and kind of got out of character. Talk about what you see from Drake being a slow-paced team and their ability to kind of put other teams who play at a fast pace off their script.
Yeah, I think that's, this time of year, I think I've said this to you before, Rock, about imposing your will in the ball game, right?
Yeah.
Who can dictate tempo is really what I'm talking about when I say impose their will and their style of play and be successful at what you do best. We say good teams can play different styles, a fast pace one night, a slow pace the next. And those are championship teams that have that ability. But when you get to a one-game performance and you don't have a lot of time to prep for this game, then it really comes down to whose style is it, who's able to dictate the pace of the game, whether that is slow down, whether that's methodical, run your sets, whether that's, trying to slow your opponent down and maybe playing more zone than you normally do. Whatever you have to come up with the way that you feel that you can win this particular matchup, right? Don't worry about next week, 2 games from now. You're just trying to win this matchup.
As we look ahead for in about an hour, Arizona will tip off with Akron Zips. Akron winning the MAC. They've had a really good season, but they haven't really played anybody. We had a handicapper on say they played like the I don't know, the 250th easiest schedule to Arizona having maybe the 4th or 5th toughest schedule in the year? Is this one of those games where maybe it's just the bettors are out there saying, okay, it's going to be closer than it really is, and Arizona's – but what do you think? Arizona's maybe going to come out and just blow them out?
I don't know if Arizona blows them out. Arizona, I love the way Arizona's been playing in the last month of the season now, much better than they were at the beginning of this year, right? And so, with that in mind, they lost to Duke earlier this year. I think the way they've played recently, they can give Duke all that they want. Not. I'm looking ahead now, obviously.
Sure.
Let's just beat Akron tonight and stuff. But I think if that Arizona team is the team that's going to show up and play tonight, I don't see Akron giving them much of a run, to be honest with you. And I like Arizona's team. I think, in one of my brackets, I have them upsetting Duke, in the Sweet 16. So I like their seed. An Akron game first, and then an Oregon Liberty game in round 2 this weekend. I think if you're a Wildcat fan, you're feeling pretty good. Tremendously nervous because Arizona's, has that reputation of not playing well in their first round game and then getting bounced. So, if you can get off to a great start tonight, I can certainly see them revved up and ready to redeem themselves against a great Duke team.
Tomorrow night, Houston and Gonzaga. Mark Few looking for his 10th straight Sweet 16, and the Houston Cougars looking for their 6th straight. Any chance Gonzaga can pull the upset tomorrow, what we saw in round 1, or do they have to kind of have that same type of performance in order to beat the Houston Cougars?
Well, I have Houston winning it all, Rock. So I gotta go. Yeah. I guess I gotta answer that the way I've felt, since a month ago. But again, we've talked about this. I look at teams that are playing their best basketball at this point of the year, and Gonzaga certainly fits into that category as well. So Houston, needs to show up and get ready to play. This is not Gonzaga from December, January. This is the present Gonzaga team who's clicking and playing like
3 minutes.
And I think it's going to be a better game than people think, but I do believe Houston will send them packing.
Coach, any surprises this year? Is this any different than any years past? I mean, you always see a couple guys get knocked off, like we did yesterday. 1% of the brackets are still, perfect. But is this pretty much what you thought it was going to be?
I unfortunately, I'm kind of bored a little bit.
That's
right?
Why I'm asking,
I want to see some more upsets. I picked Drake. I picked McNeese to win those games, so I don't even look at those as the upset that, like, wow, I can't believe they got beat in that game. I'm hoping maybe we'll see something later on tonight, but looking at the schedule, I do not. But with that being said, I see this weekend, the Saturday, Sunday games being some great matchups. It's not just St. John's and Arkansas. I mean, Auburn Creighton's going to be a good game. I just see up and down the list here of great games this weekend. And those are tough games because of the lack of preparation that you get to do on such short term and all the media that you have to answer before you get to that game. And then it depends on what time of day you play too, right? If you get that noon game, that's an even shorter time to prepare and stuff. So there's a lot that goes on this week.
Minute and a half.
Will really be entertaining to the fans, where I can't say I've been that entertained so far in this tournament.
Coach, I agree with you. I mean, I enjoyed the games yesterday, and of course, ones I got to see this morning for our show. I don't know what I'm looking for. I thought the McNeese State was huge. My family, sister, husband went to Clemson, so I know that didn't sit well for them. But that story was good with Will Wade and going to NC State. Let me ask you this: I don't know if you know this, but part of his contract, I'm sure, had some incentives if he would win some games in the NCAA tournament. here he is, he wins the game. Would he still get that incentive, even despite the fact that he is already committed to NC State?
Oh, I'm sure that, contractually his agent put together a good piece and that's probably in there, and that would be expected. But,
okay.
It may go towards if he has a buyout in his contract.
Got it.
It lessens that a little bit. I just appreciated his comments after the game last night, talking about how the significance it was for the people of Louisiana.
Good to start wrapping after this.
School lives in. The athletic director, Heath Schroyer, is a good friend of mine. Talked to him earlier this week. So it's a big deal for the people there that represent McNeese State. And I'm glad that he at least is acknowledging that, even though he's already got 1.5 feet out the door. It's a weird situation when you think about it, but I'm glad he stayed. Fulfill your contract, the season with them, and worry about what happens next after you get eliminated from the tournament. So that's why I think they can win again. I think they're now rallying about, we're doing this for us and our university, and it makes for a great story. I'm not the biggest Will Wade fan, I'll tell you that, but the story I really like, and I'm happy for their athletic director.
Coach, have yourself a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for the time today.
All right, sounds good, guys. Enjoy the games.
That's Mike Adris, former NAU head basketball coach. Nice enough to join us. He does each and every year as our NCAA insider, and he is brought to you today by Wright Toyota. The right price, the right selection, Wright Toyota, right here in Scottsdale on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. They have the right deal for everyone right now. You can check out their inventory of pre-owned certified vehicles under $15,000. So if you're looking for a inexpensive pre-owned certified vehicle, it's all at wrighttoyota.com. All right, we got our learner in row. One call, that's all. We'll take you to the Drake post game, and we'll give you the results of the State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day, plus what is on tap for the weekend to kind of give you an idea what time all these games are on and where they're on. Next here on ESPN 620. No Jimmy thing today? Really?
It's the Lerner and Rowe one call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Maybe in, a couple years, I might reflect back on it. I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't expect it. I expected it. That's what I expected. I expected exactly this. I expected them to compete. I brought winners with me. That's what I brought. And I guess my superpower is finding winners, finding tough kids, and believing in them. So I kind of expected this.
Making that my call.
If I said I didn't, I know I've tried to be humble in other ones, but man, I believe in these kids.
It's Coach Drake as Ben McCollum, who proved that Division II transfers can win a game in March Madness, as he brought in a bunch of players from Division II, and you got to give him a lot of credit because that's where he came from as well. So that was good to see. Good story there. Let's get to quickly on what's on tap tonight. Here come the Suns. The pregame starts at 6 o'clock, followed by the Suns' normal pregame show at 6:30. Then Suns and Cavs on 98.7. Tomorrow, D-backs spring training on 98.7 Arizona Sports beginning at noon. There's the Giants host the D-backs. Sunday, it'll be Padres and D-backs on 98.7. So that's what we have going on here at either Arizona Sports 98.7 or ESPN 620. 435 True TV is Akron and Arizona. And that would be good stuff there. So that's what we have local. Sad news for Grand Canyon basketball. Both men and women lose today. Coach Miller from Grand Canyon is probably off to an SEC or a pretty big Big Ten school, right? Wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So she's did a remarkable job there at Grand Canyon. We'll see. Maybe she'll stay. I mean, Coach Drew's been offered many positions, I'm sure, to get out to leave Grand Canyon to go to a bigger school.
I wonder if Arizona State would be one of those locally, but money talks. Arizona State maybe trying to get up there. But I'm looking at Miller's record overall of 297-55 in her stints at Dury, who's a Division II school in Grand Canyon. So Arizona
What was
State,
the first school called?
Dury, D-R-U-R-Y. Dury?
Never heard.
Dury, Division II schools. All those Division II schools are kind of hard to pronounce there. But, yeah, Grand Canyon. But, I mean, she gets to stay locally, doesn't have to move far. It would be interesting to see if Arizona State would poke at Molly Miller.
All right, let's get to our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day. Jax will give the results. Here's the question from yesterday's NCAA upsets. The winners, who do you feel will go the farthest? Is it McNeese State, Drake, Creighton, or Arkansas? What do the people think?
Yeah, the leader in the clubhouse, Drake at 60%, followed by Creighton at 40%, 0% for McNeese and Arkansas. I agree. I actually picked Drake and Creighton on my bracket, but Drake, for them to beat an SEC team by 11 points, like you said, with a bunch of Division II players, they're a fun story. DeVries, who's now the head coach at Indiana, he was the coach at Drake last year, leaves to go take the job at West Virginia, and a bunch of players left. They ended up hiring Ben McCollum from the Division II school, basically revamped the roster with a bunch of guys, 6 guys from Northwest State. Missouri, I believe, was the college, and they beat Mizzou by 12 points. And Bennett Sturts is the guy. He might be the Jack Golke of Oakland, if you remember from last year when they beat Kentucky. I think they're going to give Texas Tech a lot of fits. They play tough basketball. They're a slow-paced team, like Mike Adris was talking about. That can give some fast-paced teams like Texas Tech some trouble. So I hope them as a Cinderella, and also maybe Creighton can upset Auburn. That'd be a fun story to have a 1 seed go down early.
I think that's what we need right now. We need a Drake. We need a Creighton to kind of, I mean, the tournament's outstanding. It always is. But when you look at Drake and what you just said, you know, they haven't won a first round game in the NCAA tournament since 1971. So, you know, over 50 years. So that was good. And, you know, and they're an undersized team, and they were able to have some success. But I agree. I think they're the story. I love it. I would love to see them, get to a Sweet 16. another Loyola Marymount or a
Loyola Chicago.
Chicago, that's what I meant.
Loyola
I'm sorry.
Chicago,
thank you.
a VCU, a Butler, a George Mason.
Butler, that's kind of, I don't know why I said
you just kind of just need one of those. I agree. I think they've got a very good shot. I mean, Texas Tech almost lost to UNC Williamson last night until they pulled away by 10. Look at some games later tonight. I'm excited. Oklahoma, UConn. You mentioned Oklahoma. I just can't imagine Dan Hurley round one getting booted. But it could be a close game with how good Oklahoma shoots the three. They almost beat Kentucky if it wasn't for that buzzer beater layup. So that'll be a fun game. And then Xavier, Illinois, at 6:45 p.m. Xavier just smells like an upset against Illinois, but Illinois has the talent. They beat Purdue, they beat Michigan State, they got blown out by 30 from Duke. So you just don't know which Illinois team you're going to see.
All right, so here are your winners today.
5 minutes.
Maryland over Grand Canyon. Unfortunately, that was somewhat of not a blowout, but it was pretty convincing for Maryland, 81-49. I guess 32 points is a blowout. Duke did blow out Mount St. Mary's 93-49. Alabama over Robert Morris. Iowa State over Lipscomb. Colorado State upset Memphis. A number 12 beats a number 5. They beat them by 8. Ole Miss over North Carolina. So now all you North Carolina haters, you can say I told you so. St. Mary's took care of Vanderbilt 59-56. That game was a really good game. And then Baylor beat Mississippi State 75-72. So here's what we still have. Still got a lot of basketball.
So much basketball.
Just underway. Florida over the Norfolk State. Just underway. 5-2 in that one. Troy, Kentucky.
4 minutes.
New
4 minutes.
Mexico, Marquette, Akron, Arizona. So those are that's the late 4 o'clock window. The 6 o'clock window. Oklahoma, UConn, Xavier, Illinois. The 7 o'clock window. Bryant, Michigan State, Liberty, and Oregon. So a lot of great basketball, and it just all starts right back up tomorrow. I hope at least Arizona wins so we can keep talking, locally. It'd be nice for the state to see how they're going to do, and then we still got to wait a while until the 31st until ASU plays Nebraska in the Crown tournament. So we still got a lot to go. Do we have an update on the ASU Denver game?
Yes, we sure do. It is 2-2 right now, and the guys are currently coming back out onto the ice as we speak for period number 3.
Wow,
dude.
2 goals in the second for the Arizona State Sun Devils.
I got to tell you, man, if they can win this game, you beat Denver. I know no one's really talking about it. I mean, Denver, the Pioneers.
3 minutes.
The reigning national champions, they have been dominant forever. I mean, they have a ton of titles, I think 10. They've been playing D1 hockey since 1949. The Sun Devils, new to D1 hockey. They're a 2 seed. Denver's a 3 seed. They beat them a couple times this year. I mean, but you look at the Sun Devils. They've only been a D1 program since 2015. They've only been in the NCAA tournament, I think once. So this would be a huge accomplishment for Arizona State in the NCHC Frozen Face-Off. It would just be gigantic. Oh, I would love it. And, if they could get by Denver, then you play the winner of Western Michigan and North Dakota. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I think it's just great for those of you that love hockey, and I think a lot of you do. Give it a little love for Arizona State. It's all we got, when it comes to hockey.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Only love we have around here. A bunch of negativity when it comes to, the Suns are up and down. Arizona State's not anywhere close in terms of basketball, football, spring ball. Like, there's not a lot of buzz around the valley. Like, to your point about Arizona.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Diamondbacks this year to have a good season. I mean, they did last year. They have been playing well. They have the rotation. I think clearly they do. I do applaud, the skipper and Lavella.
Minute and a half.
Giving Zach Gallen, Zach Gallen the nod as the starter. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I don't think Burns has a problem with it, and maybe he does. But hey, it's opening day starter. I mean, I guess it's still a big deal. I mean, I guess it is to a lot of people. But Zach Gallen has been the ace on this team for the last few years. I think he's going to have a really good year. I know he was not happy with his results this past year. He's going to get pushed a little. He's going to get pushed with Burns. So I think that's great. Let them push each other. That's only can help. So let's hope the Diamondbacks can have a great year. It's going to be a long season. We all know once baseball starts, the summer's here. And what's with the guy upstairs giving us 90-degree weather next week? What is that all about?
Bikini season. It's almost bikini season.
Not for me. Maybe for you. I don't know. Hey, we know you have choices. Appreciate you hanging out with us for part of your day. We've been at Wright Toyota today.
30 seconds.
Of course, we'll be at Twin Peaks for a lot of it next week. So hopefully you'll stop in at one of the 5 locations even throughout the weekend to watch it. If you can also check out the Weekapaw Casino Resort and the WKP Sportsbook if you want to bet while you're watching. So a lot of choices, and we'll be back here on Monday to talk all about this weekend. So we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Good job, Manuch. Got his colonoscopy today. It was clean. He did a great job. Doesn't have to go back for 10 years. So for Connor, for Jackson Rock, have a great weekend.